we're going to take a look today at John Bedini's radiant energy. For those of you who know what this is also Tesla's dark energy. I want to show you exactly what to look for in this video so that you can understand the same thing that I do here and how it ties into everything.
That's flowing of 1.5 volts.
Right.
Positive.
So in essence, what you're saying is that the...
Right, so if we look at it this way, we look at a wave of 3, and we keep it in the same phase, and we look at a wave of 1.5. Well, that equals 1.5. Okay, now if we have a wave that's 3 and a wave that's 3 plus and minus, they're in the same relationship. So we've altered the frame. We've taken this wave and we've moved this frame underneath this frame.
Right.
So basically what we're looking at is this. Okay? And this equals 0.
So you can have hidden information and a 0.
Yes, you can have hidden information because I could take this wave.
I know a lot of you right now are lost in the battery. Please don't get lost in it. Don't get lost in the magnet. Please just understand what he's doing. He's taking an oscilloscope reading and he's showing you resonance. Now, this next part he's going to show you is very, very important. He talks about Tesla earlier in this video. I didn't show that part. I just want you guys to focus on this. The two waves are right above each other. They are resonant to each other. That's important. Let's continue to watch.
And expand that wave. And expand that wave. And I can then put information in here. Right?
Right.
And then see this 0, when it zeroes out, is going to equal, this 0 is going to contain all this information.
All the substructure.
All the substructure.
When I tell you there's resonance in it, please just understand it's just like a Tesla coil. You're adding a music circuit to a Tesla coil. Remember, John Bedini also built amplifiers. He understands how to put music into these things.
So that's the way I see differential equations in what I do in my circuits. So if I say to you, okay, I have a transistor here. All right. And I put this wave in it. And I take this portion, right? And I take this portion and say that these are equal. I'm putting this information in the device. But what's coming out of this end is just the scalar function, which is this, which is going to look like this.
What he's trying to show you right here is basically a trigger circuit. So how does a trigger circuit work? If you're putting 40 volts into something and you want to add a PWM signal to it or music to it, it's 5 volts. So you go from a high voltage at 40 and you bring in a low voltage at 5 volts. Now, the trigger circuit combines them. It allows that 5 volts to... Okay, so user that's named anyone, I didn't ban anything that I know of. Okay, I see all your comments here, and I think all of them are going up as well. So I can look at it real quick. Let's just take a look and see that it shows up. Or Ben, you can tell me if you're here. No, it's showing up. Everything's showing up. So I don't know what the deal is, man, but you should be good. Sometimes YouTube stops messages. So just leave a real short window of video and I'll check it later and make sure you're on there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. But just so you know, comment now, talk now, do whatever. You're on for sure. To manipulate the 40 volts. It adds a rider to it, or a music to it, or a PWM to it. That's how a trigger circuit works. It's exactly what he's creating right here.
See it out. What we have is all this hidden stuff inside this arrow.
Okay, and that's an expansion of the.
Yeah, that's an expansion of this.
Right.
In this entire video, this is the single most important thing to know right here. It gives away everything. He just told you exactly what he's doing. This is an unmistakable look. This is a Tesla coil ring. There's no getting around it. It is acting in the exact way that he's saying it is. It rings and discharges. One short spike. It is the essence of what he's doing here. I'm going to show you this project right here. This is my Graviflyer. Let me set it up for you so you understand. There's a probe that's connected to the wire next to my Tesla coil. There's a probe connected to the wire that goes right next to my Graviflyer. I want you to notice there's 3 signals in here. There's a third one coming in. Where's it coming in? Just like John Bedini, I have magnets on my lower disc. You can't see it right now, but there's a lower disc under there and it has magnets on it. I am producing the exact same signal with those magnets. Now, John Bedini does it in his wheel. I do it on the bottom here with my Graviflyer. 3 rings, unmistakable, just like a Tesla coil does, just like my center plate does, just like the magnets do it. 3 rings, exactly the same. Let's take a look at this a little more in depth. This is the oscilloscope. What you're going to notice is that it builds up energy till it gets to a point where it spikes out. This is exactly how a Tesla coil works. This is exactly how John Bedini's circuit works. There's a reason Bedini's bringing up Tesla. He's following this exact same thing. The difference is Bedini's capturing the spike that comes out and using it to charge a battery. Tesla used it to put sparks in the air. That's the only difference. It's the same thing. They're building the same energy.
That's going to work is if
Sorry, guys, I got a little distracted trying to take care of something in the chat. What I want to show you guys here is the Tesla coil ring. It's resonance that he's building. So what's going on is you see an unmistakable, as I showed it in the circle here, that's a Tesla coil ring. You can't hide that. When he says there's a spike coming out of it, it's the same thing as a discharge from a Tesla coil. When he's telling you he's putting them in resonance, what is he telling you? He can add a music circuit to it. He can add a frequency to it. He can add a PWM. He can add stuff to it. And he's clearly telling you that. So anyway, let's go ahead and watch a little bit of the video again. This is the single most important thing to know right here. It gives away everything. He just told you exactly what he's doing. This is an unmistakable look. This is a Tesla coil ring. There's no getting around it. It is acting in the exact way that he's saying it is. It rings and discharges. One short spike. It is the essence of what he's doing here. I'm going to show you this project right here. This is my Graviflyer. Let me set it up for you so you understand. There's a probe that's connected to the wire. Sorry, guys, I'm going through this right now. This right here is the Tesla coil ring and the Graviflyer ring. Right now, you do not see the third ring in it. What we're looking at right here is the same thing that Bedini just described. You have a buildup and then a discharge. So what happens? You'll start to see this thing go up into the megahertz, builds the energy, then it brings it down to almost nothing because then you're discharging that energy. So it's important to understand this, guys, when you're looking at it. They always line up together because the beat rate of the craft is completely the same in this. Therefore, they always line up right. However, it could be off by one thing. If your center plate octave is off, then it'll be off. It'll show up as two separate waves, and I'll show that later on. But this right here is what you're looking for. Magnets on it. I am producing the exact same signal with those magnets. Now, John Bedini does it in his wheel. I do it on the bottom here with my Graviflyer. 3 rings, unmistakable, just like a Tesla coil does, just like my center plate does, just like the magnets do it. 3 rings, exactly the same. Let's take a look at this a little more in depth. This is the oscilloscope. What you're going to notice is that what I want you to notice right here, all 3 of them, you can see clearly we have 3. They are all lined up perfect. Now, look at the amplification on them right now. You see the ring is lined up. They're not out of place, but you see 3 streams coming in. So now you can start to see what's going on. We're actually building the energy into one. All we have to do is pulse it when it gets to the highest peak. That's it. That's all that has to happen here. So we have 3 different things going on, 3 different channels. We have the Tesla coil where the probe's hooked up. We have the Graviflyer also where that probe is. Then we're getting this third one. That's from the magnets, guys. It's the same thing as Bedini. We're pulling in that same energy. This is why you can't use the neodymium magnets, because it saturates the core. Just like Bedini tells you, you don't want to saturate that center plate with heat. You need it to stay cold, because the Tesla coil, the way we're taking it from the Tesla coil, is like we're robbing it from the Tesla coil. By putting the wire down in there, what we're actually doing is the wire goes down and it's pulling energy. So if you ever see a Tesla coil like this, if you put the wire down the center, all the sparks go to it. It'll just create a light show. What that's doing is it's stealing the energy from the hot side of the Tesla coil, making it go to cold on the wire. As the wire goes to the center plate is now cold. It's now cold energy. If you take magnets and you're rotating them around under that, and you got neodymiums, it'll bring heat to the center plate right here. It is a very bad thing. Why? Because you want to use this as an explosive energy. But If the heat hits it right away, what happens? You just get this little puff. It's automatically using the energy before you can let it build up. It ruins the whole process. You have to let it build naturally. Bedini says it takes a while. Notice in Alexei's videos, he's taking a while to build it as well. It goes slow. It builds, takes time to saturate everything, and the center plate never gets hot in the process. That's one of the key things to the Graviflyer. I've been showing a lot of Bedini videos, and I'm hoping somebody picked up on it and told me about it, but they didn't. So I wanted to make sure we understood it before we move on to the next step. It's imperative that you get this right. Now, Alexei uses a Linko magnets. They are not as strong as neodymiums at all. They're just above ceramic magnets. That's all you have to know about them. They're just a little bit stronger than the regular ceramic. Let's get back to the video. Let's take a look at this a little more in depth. This is the oscilloscope. What you're going to notice is that it builds up energy till it gets to a point where it spikes out. This is exactly how a Tesla coil works. This is exactly how John Bedini's circuit works. There's a reason Bedini's bringing up Tesla. He's following this exact same thing. The difference is Bedini's capturing the spike that comes out and using it to charge a battery. Tesla used it to put sparks in the air. That's the only difference. It's the same thing. They're building the same energy.
That's going to work is if I have this potential that's 3 and this potential that's 2. What I have out here is 1.
Right.
Along with the 0.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's trying to cancel out, but there's this difference in potential. It's the same thing as if you took this battery. So when we talk about inverted circuits in the book and stuff that's coming out.
Right.
I wanted to show you this. This is on my Graviflyer project. It's the same thing Bedini's talking about here. We have two waveforms slightly off from each other. Why are they spiking? Well, I'm taking a piezoelectric disc and I'm taking an ultrasound machine and I'm pushing the button. So I'm bursting the disc so it puts out a big pulse wave. It's amplifying both sides of this. Understand this. If you want to take Bedini's circuit and upgrade it, this is what you have to do. It's not about changing the neodymium magnets. The power's already there with the ceramic. This is how you amplify it. You have to take something like a piezoelectric disc and then burst it with a pulse wave. A pulse wave with two frequencies slightly out of unison with each other equals a resonant frequency. It is the most powerful frequency that you can get out of anything. Okay, so let's just talk about this for a minute. So, when I tell you it's the most powerful, okay, it's like ringing a bell. It's already ringing. You take that big pendulum in the center and you smack the living daylights out of the side, right? That burst of energy going into that bell is so intense. That's the moment you want to catch right there. That moment when you just struck the living daylights out of it, right? That's the amplification you want. But you want it at the peak before it discharges. So if you notice, the wave goes like this and it builds and it builds and it builds, and then boom, it discharges. It's the same thing in a Bedini circuit. It's the same thing in a Tesla coil. All you're trying to do here is get the max value out of this. You want everything it's got. Whatever that power level in your Tesla coil is, you're going to amplify that. So let's just be clear. If you just have like a resonating frequency coming out of your Tesla coil and not sparks, okay, because that's what we're dealing with here, and it goes 5 feet on each side, when you hit this thing at the right, just at the right time, that field is going to build to 10 to 12 feet further. That's taking your Graviflyer here and you're building it out. So if it's 5 feet here, just understand that you're going to go this way with it. And that's all around the whole thing. So you could end up covering 20 feet or, 12 feet total distance out from a 10-foot circle. It'll go to 20 feet. No problem. Okay. I've had it happen. I had to move cars out of the driveway when I pushed the button on this thing. I have to keep it further enough away from my house not to blow things up. Guys, it really, really messes with circuits because it's like a big EMP. This thing creates a ton of energy. Okay. That's what I'm trying to tell people. People say, well, it takes 1,000,000 volts to lift something that heavy. Well, it might, but we're creating it in a burst. That's the point here. You see, a lot of people give up on this project and they don't see the energy portion because they didn't look that deep into it. Guys, I've looked, I've found it. I know where it's at and I've hit it. It is a massive wave of energy. So I'll show you that picture again of what it looks like. We'll go to a different screen here. Just take a look at it. So you see the waveforms. You can see them underneath of where the amplification is. And you can see that it's extending them out. Now, that's just not normal, guys. This isn't something that you pick up on your oscilloscope daily. This is something that only happens with that piezo buzzer. Why? It's a pulse wave. A pulse wave to 2 frequency waves gives you a resonant frequency. It is the amplification of both frequencies. So it makes it so much bigger. And this isn't that they're completely out of phase here. I thought that they were before. They're just not. It's going into where they align. So this is right before you get to the ring. This is them aligning. This is where you put in, when Bedini says you put in your music circuit or you put in whatever information you want in there. This is before it aligns and hits that. I did not catch the ring amplification on my oscilloscope. It kind of makes a big wave, so cameras are kind of hard to catch that. When I catch it, I'll show it to you. But this is right before at low power, and you can see it just amplifies it. And it just brings those peaks way, way up. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play on this. This is a beautiful thing to see here. It will make the discharge much, much higher.
If I have this potential generated with a spike, and this is 300 volts, we'll just call it a spike, right? And I put this 300 volts to the plus, and I take and invert the transistor to the ground, right? And I come up with some form of switch here. When I close that switch, the difference in potential is across this battery.
Right.
So if this is 12 volts, this is subtract this 300 volts, and that's the difference in potential that's charging the battery. So we want just potential and no current.
Okay, real quick before we go any further with this, I need to explain something here. And it comes down to how he's charging the battery. You're putting potential in. Potential's not rectified. It's not AC or DC. It is potential. Therefore, very high voltage, very low amps. Okay. What is the battery doing here? The battery's rectifying for you. It is chemically rectifying. So instead of a full bridge rectifier, chemically rectifying it. Is it perfect? No. Are there things that happens with the batteries? Do they got to be conditioned? Yes. Do they have to work differently after that? A little bit. But if you can change the chemicals in the battery, then you have a perfect match. That's the understanding here. You just got to change a few parts in the batteries. Then they start to work with what he's doing a ton better. And I'm not talking just a little bit, guys. Get the chemical process right, and you got a battery that's going to last a very long time. So, because it cleans the anode and cathode inside the battery, it's like an ultrasonic wave that's like this, blasting all the stuff that that's on there. It blasts it off, so it works better. The problem is we're using lead acid in our batteries. What if we change that? What if we get something that worked with it? Works a lot better. But since we don't use potential in everyday life, we use AC and DC, it makes it hard to put things together the right way. Get it right. We're going to get something better at the end. That's what you should really understand. So what is Bedini trying to tell this guy? He's trying to tell him that it's potential coming out of there. Not AC, not DC. AC and DC are man-made. The earth creates potential. For anybody who's built a generator, you know that you have to rectify that. You'll have to rectify the potential to DC and then rectify it again to AC. So, what does that mean here? We are building potential. You're putting potential into the battery. A Tesla coil discharges potential. It's not discharging AC, it's not discharging DC, it's discharging potential. Now, can you charge a battery with a Tesla coil? Well, if you can make the Tesla coil voltage that comes out of the top a lot less, then yes, you can. However, we're talking thousands of volts in the spike for a Tesla coil, and we're only talking about hundreds of volts in this spike for the Bedini circuit. That's really the only difference here. You have to understand, once you see the key factors that he's putting in here, there is a perfect reason why he's bringing up Tesla, because he's creating the same thing. It's amazing to look at. It works in my project, it works in everything else. You just have to understand how to see it. You're going to have to build more than one Bedini motor to see this. You're going to have to build a Tesla coil. You're going to have to start looking at the oscilloscope readings. You're going to have to start to understand them. It's a complete meaning here. You're starting to understand this is more important than you think. Now, if you can get past all of the other stuff, all of the magnets, all of the core, all of the circuits, and just focus on this. You want to create an. So, yeah, just real quick, I just want to talk about this comment. Potential is ether. So, you're dealing with an earth energy. Okay. Everybody says it differently, but it's the same thing. Potential, earth energy, ether, all of it's the same. So however you want to say it in your brain, Gerard Morin talked about it the same way. It's all the same thing. Now, why is the magnets doing it without the coil underneath it? Why am I getting the same readings? Well, just like that comment said, it's the ether. I'm pulling the ether into this Graviflyer. That's what you need to understand. That's why it has to be on the ground. It cannot be in the air. I have to have the ether from the ground. I am making potential inside this thing. So we're spiking it up from the ground. We're getting that connection. You know, Bedini talks about the ground circuit, and he tells you, you got one ground here, you got one ground here, and then he dots little lines to the other one. Why do you think he does it? It's because he's telling you the same thing. If I took that coil out and I just put this thing on the ground and I rotate my magnets above it, I'm getting that spike. I'm getting that discharge. I'm pulling the ether into it. That's what's going on here, guys. That's why this thing is so cool. it's doing things you don't realize right away. But then when you realize them, you can start to understand this. I didn't have to have a coil. I don't have to have magnets underneath it. I have the earth itself, and it's working to give me more energy. I have tests to prove that conclusively, that I am getting way more energy. The only thing is, you just have to have it in the right octave. If it's not in the 5th octave, good luck. It won't work. It won't match. It's got to be in the 5th. There's something about it. And it might just be it's matching the metal. Aluminum is in the 5th octave. That's probably all that it is. It's matching the octave of the aluminum with the ether, and it's giving it the full amount of energy it wants. So let's go ahead and play this. Energy ring. The ring that comes out of a Tesla coil. The same thing Bedini's getting with the magnet. You also, in my project, want the center plate to do the same thing. You want them to align over top of each other. And then you want to pulse it and amplify the living daylights out of it. Why? You want to create the biggest explosion you possibly can in energy. That will lift the craft off the ground. The amount of voltage that comes out of this, it's not in the hundreds, it's not in the thousands, it's not in the 10,000s, it's in the hundreds of thousands of volts that's going to come out of this. You have just taken the total amount of energy from that Tesla coil, and you have taken it and multiplied it by a factor of 10 or more by putting all three together. All three spike together. All three amplify together. You have now created one gigantic amount of energy. People say it'll take about 1,000,000 volts to lift a Graviflyer. Well, it might, but now I can create that. That's the understanding of Bedini. You have to be able to see each step through into the project that you're working on. You have to identify the parts that work, the parts that fit together. In this case, you can clearly see the oscilloscope. One ring for my Tesla coil, one ring for my center plate, one ring for the magnets on the ground. It matters that they're ceramic magnets. Cannot be neodymium. This is a true understanding of where the next level of Bedini goes. All right, guys, I just want to address this. When you take a piezoelectric disc connected to an ultrasound machine, you push the button, it amplifies it. It's no different than the Great Pyramid. You're going to use water hammer to create a pulse wave. That's all it's doing. What is it doing? It's amplifying what's going on in the Great Pyramid with the quartz inside there. Quartz becomes conductive when you put fluoride in it. Rainwater has fluoride. Now, what also has fluoride? They put it in our water here in California. So if I were to take bowls and set them up and put granite in them, what would happen? They would start to become conductive. As soon as you remove the granite, conductivity goes away. Put the granite back in, conductivity's there. Hit it with a pulse wave, watch this thing jump off the chart. I've done the test before. It's an easy test. You could do it right there in your kitchen. You're going to watch this thing, you put it on conductivity, you're going to watch it grow, and keep growing. It's just going to keep going. It won't stop. It's just going to keep growing until you use the energy, and then it comes down. It's a simple test. I'll show it on my channel at some point. But let's get back to this. So the piezoelectric disc, you want to take Bedini's circuit and make it better? Take the little ultrasound thing that we made on this channel, or that Charlie C made for me, and we described on the channel. Build it. Connect the piezoelectric disc to it, and then hit it right when it discharges, or right before it discharges. You're looking for the amplification to hit right at the top, right at the peaks. And then after that, it'll come right down and discharge. That's where you want it. Just right there on that perfect edge. Then you're going to get way more out of it. I don't know if your battery's going to hold it. That may be a whole different story if you start shooting, a ton more energy in there. They'd probably explode the battery or something, but it probably won't be good. But if you just want energy out of the circuit, go right ahead. So, and if you guys don't understand the trigger circuit, you guys probably should. And it's a simple rider circuit. All it does is if you have 40 volts going here, right? And in that 40 volts, you just split it right here and you put 5-volt rider circuit into it. That's all you're doing. It basically adds a PWM. It adds a music circuit. That's all. And it's real simple. There's not a whole lot to it, guys. Bedini does it with one transistor. That's it. The guy knew how to amplify things. He builds amplifiers, for God's sakes, man. The guy knew it. So he saw it right away. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that stuff. And I'm going to pull up real quick some of the stuff from my Graviflyer just to show you. I have a bunch of stuff, and it has to do with the oscilloscope and how it's running. And I just want to show you some of the testing that was going on. So give me 1 second, and I'll pull that right up. A couple of days ago, we did some live. So you could see it bouncing around. Look at the frequency, how high it goes. We go from kilohertz to megahertz. What is that? As you build this signal and you see it going up, you'll see it go small and then it goes really big, right? That's the frequency amplification. You're starting to see it. It goes from kilohertz to megahertz. And then it hits a total amount that it can hit, and then it's done. Now just understand this. It's 25 megahertz before I amplify it. So it's already pushing a lot. And by the way, I'll go ahead and pause it here just so we all understand how this works, okay? This Graviflyer works on a beat frequency, okay? What does that mean? It basically means all the frequency aligns. It's self-fixing. You don't have to fix it. It already works the way it is. You just have to understand it and let it run. When you start putting wires down your Tesla coil, it's going off of the frequency of the center disk. The center disk is pushing it back into your Tesla coil. Also, the magnet rate, the amount that it's going in there is not based on how fast it's spinning. It's based on the center plate. So it's now telling the magnets, I want to pull this energy in a spike when I want, okay? Not when you want, when I want. So it's requiring the Earth to pull it up at the rate that the center plate goes at. The center plate dominates this whole thing and self-corrects everything. So get the motor speeds different, it changes the frequency in your center plate, which will change the whole process. If I want to speed up the motors to some godlike number, it will change the amount that's going into the center plate. That's how you understand this thing. Alexa uses very slow rotation. Why? Because gyroscopics do not lift. Gyroscopics stabilize things. That's what you're doing with the magnets on the bottom. Also, there's another effect of the magnets on the bottom. It's basically like putting it in a centrifuge. You're running it really fast. It's like Joe Parr. If you've ever watched Joe Parr, you'll understand this. He puts it in there and it'll begin to lift. Now, is it the gyroscopics? No. He's creating an energy in the pyramid itself because it's so light. However, in this case, it's a center plate. All we're looking to do here, okay, it's very simple. We have a longitudinal wave. We have a transverse wave going on. Our Tesla coil, when it goes in, because we're using the wire, is on the longitudinal plane. I have to take the piezo disc in order to make it go back up. When you hit the disc, it goes back into a longitudinal form. So let me just show that again. We have a longitudinal wave, okay, or a transverse wave, and then we have a longitudinal wave, okay? Right here, our Tesla coil comes in because it's a wire coming from the top of the Tesla coil, not attached to the Tesla coil. Just going into it. It comes out as a longitudinal wave, okay, or a transverse wave. Sorry, I keep saying that wrong. Transverse wave. Now, you want to change it back to a longitudinal wave. In order to do that, you have to hit the piezo buzzer. The piezoelectric buzzer allows it to go back up. That's your lift. That's right there. That's your lift. It's an amplification of everything it lifts. Now, this craft puts a bubble around it with the Tesla coil. Doesn't matter which way it's directed, it still puts a bubble around it. What does that do? It holds in all the static electricity. The static electricity is the ether, okay? The potential, everything into it. You must put enough in there in that bubble. You need to knock out anything else that's in there. It has to be pure potential in the bubble. That's kind of one of the hardest things to do on this. You have to be able to do it though. Your Tesla coil has to be strong enough to hold that field. I always talk about wanting it thicker. That's why, right there, you have to do it. You need to build up that field in there. Get rid of any contaminants out, okay? If you ever seen it in infrared, you see things flying around like this, that's the contaminants. You want them out. Get them out. Pure ether in there. You're creating your own field in this one. This thing has two toroids, one on the top, one on the bottom, a plate to divide them, just like our Earth. Therefore, you have to keep it of an understanding like this. You are getting ether filled in there, then you're continuing to create your own ether, guys. That's what's so important about this craft. So cool about it. It takes a long time to figure that out, but once you do, now you can start amplifying things. This is the point where you go, okay, so I want a higher Tesla coil number on my Tesla coil so that I can get a bigger field. Can I get it thicker? Okay. Will it go out in orbs like 1 ring, 2 ring, 3 rings? And it will. That's the crazier part about this. The closer it is to it, the thicker it is. The bigger the field, though, is the bigger you can make that amount without losing a lot of it on the outside. Outside's very thin. It's like a rotating magnet. You're not going to get as much energy out there. The main energy stays in the middle. The ether is what you really want. You have to get it in there pure. That's why the magnets matter. You need to pull it up from the earth. Take it from the earth. Help it fill that bubble. Help it fill it. We're going to burst off the earth and seal the bubble. Just like that. We're going to switch really fast from a potential on the outside to a magnetic frequency on the outside. Now we have something different. It goes boom real fast, then goes right back. Real fast and right back. That's a button push. It's going to switch it. It's why you have to understand electricity and high voltage differently. If you can't get past the fact that when you raise the amount of volts, it lowers the amps. That's pretty easy, right? But the amps create heat. So as the frequency goes up, the heat goes down because you're lowering the amps. You can get it down to milliamps and the frequency will skyrocket. That's what you're seeing when you do that build-up wave. You see the frequency go up? I'm pulling amps right out of it, okay? That's what I'm doing. Now, you can also change the frequency and it'll change your volts and amps. All of it works together. It's one thing of energy. It's not linear, man. It's a ball of energy. That's what you're dealing with here. So, anyway, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and look at some comments in here. These different states of ether is what the field is. Yeah. But you got to remember the Tesla coil field is a little bit different than the ether when you do it. They'll create two lines. So When I create the fields here in the garage, the outside of it, you get one field here, right? And that's your Tesla coil inside your ether. It'll go here. Now you can bring it past it or to it, and it'll create more energy if you get right on the line of it, but you want to leave a little distance in it, okay? A gap, just a little bit, not much, but it changes how it works. So you can control each one. You can control the high voltage, you get a little more. You can control the Tesla coil and adjust them out. You'll see me doing it with the light. I'm adjusting each one. The light gets brighter if they're too close in contact, or they can go like this. Now, you want to create that field in there. It's so important to create that field. It takes a long time. You got to put this thing up. You got to be able to pull the energy and let it run. One of the greatest tests to tell you anything about this is flip how you put the energy in. Take the top and bottom disc, okay? Attach it to your Tesla coil. Instead of putting the high voltage there, put it to your Tesla coil. On your center plate, put the high voltage. What is it doing then? Then the Tesla coil field is built and the high voltage field is on the outside. You want to fry your computer? Turn that sucker up to about 60 volts in your Tesla coil. It'll fry all the electronics in the room you're in. Why? Because all of that ether energy is on the outside. It comes out as like an EM wave, okay? And it just fries things. It overloads your circuits and everything. That's how you know what the Tesla coil is doing. It's holding in the field in an original configuration. When you flip it, it's pushing that energy, that static electricity everywhere. It goes everywhere. I had an event in my garage where it just started going quick. I mean, quick. It was immediate. It was ready. I guess I had done experiments in my garage and didn't realize how much energy was in the room. Well, as soon as I did it, it immediately started doing it. I tell you, my computer, it was like, it changed all my web pages on there. It started telling me everything was plugged in that wasn't plugged in. It identified all new devices. Like I was some master of devices plugging things in. No, this thing just took over. It had a mind of its own. Okay. And people wonder why UFO crafts can do things with your mind. Well, if the energy itself can change what's going on, then you have a huge thing going on here, okay? It's completely changing everything, guys. It can tell your electronics what to do. That's crazy. That's not supposed to happen, but it does. And that's why few people understand that aren't building these things. It's kind of got a mind of its own. Now, how do you control that in the end? I don't know. I'd love to know. I don't know. I'd save my electronics, that's for sure. I think I blew up, probably $300 worth of hardware in like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Everything fried. And it was just too close. There's nothing I could do about it. So, yeah, it's a strange thing, but you have to be able to push these things to the limit. Anytime you do, man, you got something special, okay? If you don't push it to the limit, you're shy about it, good luck. You're not getting anywhere. Fry it and find out. That's my motto, okay? And yeah, I fry about everything in here once in a while. And, I just took my testing outside. I got a little cart, took my stuff outside. I got tired of paying for it because I truly blew up everything. Good thing it's not a metal building, that's for sure. Let's see, what Gerald say? I'm now building a circuit in a series of switches. For that, we were talking about going for full control. That I would love. Gerald, let me know if you need some help on that, because I need full control. I have most of it, but man, if I can control this to switch my computer the right way and just tell it which web page I wanted, man, I create a whole system that can make this whole thing change and just do what I want based on what's in my mind. So, Hey guys, sorry. Yeah, I didn't give any notice for the show, guys. I just put it out there. I was thinking about it this morning. I got up around 1 in the morning, came out here, made a few videos, thought, you know what? I'm just going to talk about it too. You know what I mean? I put it out on video. I just thought everybody needed to hear it because it's not something that's known. And people are wondering why I put all this Bedini stuff on my channel and they're not getting it. Usually I work on the Graviflyer and I've been staying away from it a little bit. There's some things it does, man, that I'm not ready to disclose yet. And I need people to be able to follow it because it's really, really difficult to explain it. So in order, or just want everybody to kind of catch up a little bit and be able to see it. And one of the things about the whole Bedini video is it clearly showed it. It was like, how do you not see that? Once you build all these things, how do you not see it? So I had to show that. A cheap Home Depot shit. Yeah, dude, that'd be bad news. With all this electricity, that'd probably be a bad thing. I'd be flying my shed, you know. So, what's up, Sean? Sean's going to be on tonight. Oh, man, I can't wait. Guys, he's got some Tesla coils out there that are just amazing. And he's got a whole bunch of information for tonight. That's going to be just an amazing show, guys. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, you know, I wanted to talk about the high voltage on the Graviflyer. A lot of people misunderstand this. If I overvolt this thing, I'm looking for flow of energy. I want to know where it's going. I want to know if it's going inside, if it's going outside, what's going on. So the center disk eats all kind of voltage. Like if you put in high voltage to both the things and let it go down, the center disk just eats it. So if you put in plastic there, what'll happen? It just makes a capacitor, and it makes a powerful capacitor. So I have a second Graviflyer that we're having plastic in the center and just building the capacitor because I just want to see what it does. You know what I mean? So TT and I were talking about it on the Facebook, and that we decided, you know what, we'll do it that way and see what it does as well. If I get multiple things flying at the same time, guys, it'd be awesome because there's 2 different ways to build this, and I know that. Maybe there's 3, but I know there's definitely 2 ways to make anti-gravity. And, you know, we're getting there, and it's a little slow. And one of the things you have to do is slow down and verify everything, especially when you get real close to that end part. It's not something that you put out halfway, you know, let somebody else take your finish line. You need to finish it yourself. So that's kind of where I'm at. Guys, I'm getting the special effects. I'm getting everything. It's right there. I've been 1 o'clock in the morning, man. Oh, I get up, I test this thing. I test at night so I can see the lights and how far it goes and, you know, what the distances are that I'm getting. It's exhausting. So when it comes to 6 o'clock at night, man, I'm dying because I've been up, you know what I mean, since 1 in the morning working on this thing. And when the light comes out, it's pretty much done for the day. You go in and you check your email and everything else. But yeah, it's pretty intense, man, what we're going to. So Gerald says there's 4. That'd be interesting. And it probably has more to do with this coil design than what I know. So yeah, Gerald, you're probably right. So flying some houseboats, huh? Yeah. You know, they tell me I blow up everything, and it's probably true. But yeah. Let's see. I wonder how much voltage it takes from ionizing bubble. Well, I'm going to tell it to you this way. In order to create a Tesla coil to get the same field that I'm getting now, probably 130 volts have to go into it of DC power. That's about, maybe more. It might be a lot more than that. I'm getting a lot. So if I just set up a Tesla coil and hit it with this and was able to amplify it, if I'm pushing 20 something feet now, I don't know. Sean could probably tell me the calculation better than I could. It's a great distance. It's not something that's normal. Tesla coils 3 feet. That's about what you get out of it. Guys, I'm not trying to create sparks. I'm creating radiant energy. And you get a tan. Don't go close to it too much. You're going to get a tan. That's not going to work out for you. Probably too much for me. But anyway, that's just kind of what's going on. I want to take a look real quick. I'm going to bring up another video in here so you guys could see it. I'll take this off. This is something right here, Gerald, you should get. Let me see if that volume's up all the way. Because I don't think I'm getting it. Oh, you know what? I think my headset turned off. That's probably me. All right, let me hit play. You guys hear that? Okay. So what's going on there? Just so everybody knows what's happening here. The actual piezo buzzer is taking the center plate right dead in the center and is moving it. Okay? It's popping it. Okay? What does that do? It changes the octave in the disc. You guys see me tap this thing and change it, right? Well, it's doing that same thing. It's changing the octave in there. So we're getting to the 5th octave. Alexi pushes it 5 times. Aluminum's the 5th octave. And that's exactly where you need it. Now, it picks up more energy on top of all of the other energy amplification we're doing. It's more energy. So when I tell you it's pulling energy from the ether or from the ground, that's the more energy. And I have a video that shows it pretty clearly. It just out of nowhere, the energy just boom, it just goes right up. But that button blew out my my hearing aids. So I'm sitting there with one ear close to it and I'm pushing the button, boom. That ultrasound blew one of my hearing aids completely out. So it's pretty powerful. You don't think it's going on, but it is. So anyway, that's what it's doing. You click it and going. Now, how do you know you're in the right zone? That dial right there, you move it left and right, it'll click. And it's perfectly clear when you're sitting in the room, but if you're not, it's kind of hard to hear. So click it one way, it'll click. Turn it back the other way, click. Whichever one's the loudest is where you set it and leave it alone. That's where you need it. The only thing I needed to do in this one is replace my piezo buzzer, and I did that. It was too small. I needed a bigger one. I get more of an effect out of that center plate, and it's able to now change the octave when I push the button. So we're getting the right effect out of it now. It's just a little bit too small. That's okay. Got it fixed. Now we're in the right zone. Every time I hit that button, that center plate moves. Now change the octave. What happens when it gets to the 5th? It doesn't go beyond it. That's crazy. I don't know how Alexi pulled that off. It is staying in the 5th. It won't go to the 6th. It won't go to the 7th. It stays in the 5th. And it'll actually start affecting the craft. That's when you start getting movement. Okay? All the energy's there. Everything's there. It's resilient to stay in the 5th. That's why Alexi could push this thing around, sit on top of it. Whatever he wanted to do, he could do it because it's resilient and stays there. It does not come out. Okay? Until you turn off all the power, it's in the 5th octave. It stays right there. So, just so you guys understand that, that's what's going on. Yeah, that's what it is. It has to do with the aluminum. It brings in, we all saw that chart, right? I know Benny brought it up a couple times on the chart, and I forget the name of it, right? But it tells you exactly where it goes. Okay. It's that little S shape, right? It comes down and you'll find aluminum right there at the 5th. Okay. That's why. That's what it's doing. It loves that zone. If you guys could in the comments, just tell me what the name of that thing was and I'll put it up there. But that's what's going on there. Go ahead and I'm going to pull a little bit, another footage from here. Remove that one. Let's see if it's this one here. Are you hearing that? I don't know if you can hear it. It goes, hoot, 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 as you're turning it left and right. It's a dead giveaway. Alexi's doing this dial. Why can he do it? Because he can hear it. That's why he tells everybody to be quiet, because he can hear it. This isn't that hard. He doesn't need an oscilloscope to see it. He can hear it. A lot of the things that he does, he made it self-correcting. He made it where you can hear things. He gave you everything that you could possibly want. The only thing he didn't do was tell you what's in his Tesla coil. Okay? That's one of the hardest parts to figure out. And it's out of sheer dumb luck that I got part of it right. The other part was Sean came in and helped me out big time on it. Sean helped me up set up my Tesla coil, man, where I could get my Graviflyer and it to be in unison and be able to resonate correctly. The second part is I dropped my Tesla coil like a moron, so I had to split it, okay? So that's a huge thing. I can now change it from oscillating perfectly to change it to where it's not oscillating, like maybe at 60, 70% it's oscillating at. What am I doing? I'm intentionally putting feedback into my Tesla coil. I want it hot. When I hit that energy and push it back to oscillating properly, it puts a hot bolt into my center plate. That right there makes it jump. I've now changed from cold electricity to hot in 1 second, and I changed a potential into magnetism when I did it. Completely insane that it works that way. But if you can't identify the voltage and you don't understand the hot and cold side of it, not a lot of it's going to make sense. But when you do understand, you have cold electricity, you put hot into it, what are you doing? You're using that electricity right there. You're now asking it explode. Give it all. All of it is what I want. Okay? I want to use it all. That's what it's doing. Uses it. And then what happens when it goes back to cold electricity? It changes back into potential. That's the whole way this thing works. It's flipping fields. Boom, 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 boom. Just like that. And it does it because you understand how high voltage works. It's crazy. I'm going to go ahead and play this a little bit more and you can see it. Hopefully you could hear it. I'll just rewind it. It's hard to hear in the beginning. It's easier to hear as you get a little further. So try to listen. I don't know if it's going to show up here, but I'm going to try. Yeah, that sometimes happens, man. So, we start looking at things and we don't understand exactly how they're getting there, right? But we're slowly peeling back the layers on things. And the more I hear about Gerald's coil, just so you know, the more I understand everything, okay? the more I can tune my stuff in, because there's things that are comparable between the two. Mine has, like I said, 2 toroids on it and a center divider. Gerald's is a big toroid, right? Which means it completely translates to what I'm doing. It's just a single instead of, one on top of the other. It changes the directions things are going in and where the bubbles are, but it does not change how they work. Mine is more like a magnetosphere and how it's working. Gerald's is more like a true, like, fast craft kind of thing. You know what I mean? That goes around everywhere. And mine's more like a slow moving thing. So anyway, totally cool, guys. Genius. I don't know that I'm a genius, guys. I'm just an old guy in my garage. Okay. I'll just say that. I'll be humble about it. I just let my brain wander more than most people. So let's see if we got another one. Let's stop sharing this one. So hopefully you all heard that. Oh, sorry. Here I am pushing buttons. All right. Let's see what else we got on here. So, all right, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Okay, here we go. This happened during the live stream, by the way. I can bring it up a little more. We got the 2 minutes. Let's go ahead and look. I just want to show you the oscilloscope again real quick. We're in the megahertz frequency. We're just running the disc, guys. If that kind of tells you where the Graviflyer is, maybe, that's what we're looking for. Nice, Cheryl. Nice. This reminds me of Sean's Tesla coil. When he showed it, it showed this in the background. Okay, hold on. It says aluminum is not preferred. Please understand this, okay? Let me switch this back. Why do we want aluminum for this and not any other metal? I know I get a lot of people telling me to put different things in this. Let me just be clear about this. Aluminum generally doesn't magnetize. You have to be able to magnetize the aluminum. Now, it doesn't have to be directly on the aluminum. It can be on a field that's just off of it. That's what makes it important. Because of the eddy current, okay, that goes in there, and it's created because of the aluminum. Energy likes to go around a field on it, okay? It does not like to stay on the surface of aluminum. When you create high potential with high voltage, you're looking for it to spray off of the aluminum. You want it to blow out, okay? The only way that it does that is by using aluminum, okay? If you use copper, it stays in the copper. If you use steel, it stays in the steel. If you use aluminum, it stays off the aluminum and is able to spread out everywhere. That's the reason for the aluminum. It's something that you'll have to do when you build these things. Build it in iron, it'll stay in the iron and magnetize the iron. Put it in copper, it's going to create electricity in the copper, but it'll stay in the copper. Put it on aluminum, it doesn't like aluminum. The higher the voltage, the higher amount the field comes off of the aluminum. That's one of the most important things about this. You don't want anything to stick on this. You don't want that energy used up in any way. You don't want it in any of your plates. You want to try to keep it off of there in a field. If you could do that, then you can use it inside this bubble. You start using it inside your plates and you're wasting it. You don't want to waste it. We want to use it all. Okay? We got to get this bubble to bounce. Okay? It's like a balloon. We just want to push the top of the balloon on the table. Okay? And then let go and let the balloon jump. The table always follows it because the Graviflyer becomes the table. Boom, push it again. We're going to jump again. It doesn't matter how much this thing weighs. Once we create our own ether, guys, the weight is irrelevant. It's going to weigh the same on Earth no matter what. But inside that bubble, it weighs something different. It's like going to the moon. You throw a baseball here on Earth, right? It only goes so far. You go to the moon, goes, quadruple the distance, way out there, right? Well, that's all we're looking for. We create the bubble around it. We're creating our own ether. That's all I want to do. Okay? That's it. We're not taking weight into consideration here because it's not. It weighs differently in space than it does here. I'm making my own space. Therefore, the weight's irrelevant. Okay? It just need to push the bubble the right way. That's it. That's all we're looking for. Okay? It's a true understanding of what we're doing here. Okay? Keep that energy off those plates as much as you possibly can. Okay? It's a beautiful way to make it work. If you want them to suck into the plates and everything and cause an explosion, you're going to get what, you're going to start to get the Hutchison effect. You're going to tear that metal right apart. You cannot take a transverse wave and a longitudinal wave and increase it where it creates an energy in the center. That's exactly what Hutchison does. You watch his stuff. It'll come up, off, and slightly turn as it comes up. Okay? Every one of them. You go, okay, well, let's look at Graviflyer. When you get to his little box, what happens? It's the exact same lift. They don't change. It's the exact same lift. It's the lift when you get a transverse wave and a longitudinal wave that cross. That's what you get. You get an anti-gravity. You put it a little bit in there, it lifts. You put it too hard in there, you're going to blow holes in metal because it's too much heat. It's going to cross and create way too much heat. Okay? You have to understand that. You can look at the videos yourself, one right next to the other when they lift off, man. It's just, they're exactly the same. That's how you know there's proof of concept. You don't have to look anywhere else. You don't got to try to debunk something. Just go over and pull them both up and look at it. That's all it is. It's the exact same lift. Exact same way. Exact same speed coming off the ground. Everything. It doesn't change. It's repeatable. We already know how to do the Graviflyer and make it lift. Okay? There's people reverse engineering it. I could probably draw you a diagram in a few seconds and have it tell you how to do it. Okay? We're working on a little bit of different craft. We're reverse engineering something. So I have to follow what he has. That's the way it works. I'm not building my own. If I build my own, man, I wouldn't build it this way. That's for sure. But it's good to understand the techniques of doing it. Balloon analogy. Yeah. That balloon analogy, man. That's something else. So if you guys ever get the chance to watch those videos, I don't know if I have them. I don't think I have them here right offhand. But yeah. Okay, let's read this. Yep, it lifts like two magnets, pushes you off, and the opposites slam together when they push you too hard. By the way, Gerald's got that. He's got this coil. I looked at it today. Okay, I did a video on it. His coils are different. And even when it's a little coil, okay, still different. I'm over there like with a magnifying glass looking at this thing. I'm getting old. You have to look at it. It's woven. It's in layers, but it's woven. And it's like he's sitting over there with a needle and just stitching this thing together is what it looks like. And it's crossing each other continuously. He's got two different coils there. They cross each other. They act different. It's not one coil wound like this. No, I thought it was. And I'm looking at this thing with all these zip ties on it. I started looking a little closer. I go, hold on a minute. That's woven in there. That's not the same. So he's doing it in a big coil too. I'll leave it up to him to tell you how that works. But that's a big deal. Okay. it changes how energy reacts to things. I got a lot of people telling me, no, that's just the way the fields work. Nope. I'm sorry, nope. We all look for the double jump, because once you get the double jump, you can do it again. If you can get that field to jump from one bubble to the next bubble, and you got your coil here, and you simply put a coil above it, right, and get the bubble again, and then jump it again, or you make it fly off, guys, you're sitting on top of a magnetic bubble. That's what that's telling you. You can remove the magnets at that point. Once it attains the second level, magnets are irrelevant. Okay? That's it. All you need is enough weight in the first set of coil to sustain it to hit the second one. That's it. That's the end of the story here. Because once you can do the second jump on the coil, all you need is the bubble. The bubble is your second field. That's your magnet. Your bubble becomes your magnet because it flips the field from potential to magnetism. Therefore, you can push off the bubble all day. You are simply pushing the top of the balloon and letting it jump. That's it. That's the understanding. It's right there. Gerald's got it right with those two little coils, or the one that we see, but the two, it's two woven into one. So anyway, that's just total different understanding, guys. And if you're set in conventional ways, you'll never see it. You have to understand the bubble concept in order to get it. And you got to create that bubble. The only thing I would say about Gerald's big coil is that since the energy is going out into the room all the way, you have to be able to put a field around it. That's it. And all you got to do is put a frame around that thing. That's the simplest part in the world. It's crazy. Put a frame around that coil. I swear, man, you put a field out there. Just connect the Tesla coil to that outside. You have everything you want. Everything. Anything you want, that coil will do. Just have to have that little bit of frame around it. Compress the room into the craft. That's it. That's really what I used. Oh my God. Who knows? You know what? I don't know what I'll have, guys. Hopefully, whatever I have, I help everybody else get the same. And if you guys don't know by now, I have no problem, taking your channel and, talking about it, bringing it on air, bring people on, you know what I mean? Having create channels, whatever it is, guys, I'm good. If it helps the community, that's where I'm at. Okay. If you need a resource to find something, I give it to you. It's, I keep some of my Graviflyer stuff private, just until I'm ready to do it. But if you guys need anything else, by all means, ask. You know what I mean? I try to help out as much as I possibly can. If you need to find a special Bedini video that you can't find, I'll show you the resource to find it. If you want your channel profiled or something like that, have something interesting, tell me about it. Send me an email. We'll profile it. You want to come on the show and do the Monday show? Have something really interesting to talk about, and send me an email. That's it. Email's in my YouTube. You can look it up at any time. But yeah, I love different inventors on here, guys. When we do the French think tank, oh my God, we have the best time when we have the coolest people. Like Sean's going to be on. Sean's an expert in Tesla coils, dude. There's no getting around that. The things he's doing is like insane. When we had the Makaba on, oh my God, how many people ever knew how to do that? You know what I mean? You're taking these different frequencies, making the center point in there the magnet, and they're not even touching. That was insane. And then, oh my God, dude. All right, we had Ian on. Ian can build anything. He just sets his mind to it. He's got like a really calm mind, man. He gets in there and just whoop, 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 whoop. And he understands it perfectly. He can rebuild anything you got, man. He's got some cool stuff going on. I thought that was one of the best things when him and Gerald talked. Oh my God, out of this world, guys. Out of this world. I let him go at it, man. That's cool. So, need a private yeah, absolutely, Gerald. Anytime you want, man. I got some ideas for your stuff. And I think honestly, once we break this barrier, guys, there's no going back. I mean, they could try to hide it, but good luck. It's something that's really right there with our little group. Okay. Between all the different experiments we got going on and all the stuff we talk about behind the scenes, you know what I mean? And it's right there. Okay. It's about ready to explode, big time on everybody's channel. That's kind of one of the really good things about this, guys, is I want everybody to get exposure to. I want their channels to come up. I want everybody to tune into all of us together, not just me. Okay. It's got to be for everybody, whole community. And by the way, if you don't know what crypto's doing over there, oh my God. You guys see it, right? They take these little artifacts from UFO, okay? They have one layer of metal, crystalline layer, and another layer of metal. How does that fit into what he's doing? When he's breaking down the material, we can now create a paste and turn it into a crystalline form. Think about that. The only thing we need to do is put potential into it. And we start creating some crystalline. We let it grow. How do we know how to make things grow? Put potential in the ground next to your plant. Watch it grow. Put in that special field. Watch it grow. Put a magnet, a ceramic magnet, with the seed that you plant in the ground. It'll grow faster. Okay? What is really what we need to do here, guys? We really need to see it for what it is. We put that paste on there. We grow it into a crystalline form. Why the two pieces of metal are sitting, away from each other like this? It forms a whole nother layer in the craft. That's what we want right there. We're going to build it. We're not just going to talk about it or look at it. We want to build it. Okay. Grow it right into this thing. Okay. People don't understand. It's that form. When you get to quartz, one of the greatest things on the earth is quartz. Okay. Why? Because it has that crystalline form. So what crypto's doing, man, out of this world. Right into what we're doing, man. Right in the middle of it. You know what I mean? Awesome. Just awesome. That's right. Yeah, I got some comments, guys. I'm going to go through it right quick. Yeah, you know what? This is who I am. Okay, just understand that I'm not a phony behind the scenes, guys. This is who I am. Okay, real loyal to people that are loyal to me, and that's the way it works. Okay, you just that's it. I'll promote you all day long. Put your channel on blast and get you as many subscribers as we can get. It's not hurting me if you get a subscriber. It's helping. Man, more people on the team. You know what I mean? You got to get more people up to speed. That's what we want. That's what the community's about. So, try to skip for all the chat. Dude, Sean and I go back and forth, okay, on things. And he does his thing, and he's already on another level. I'm working on something totally different, so I go in and wreck his world with what I'm saying. He's got to go back and reconfigure things. And I find it funny because he's got this thing, and I'll just say this about it because I want to save a lot for the show. He's got that round testicle, right? So what happens if he takes a page out of Makaba's book, makes it bigger, and instead of pushing the energy out, he pushes it in? Now create a singularity inside of that outer field. What happens? I mean, there's only one way to find out, right? Just do it. But it's such an interesting experiment when you look at it. You get the energy to go out all day. We've seen that. You know what I mean? That's cool. Can you get the energy to go inside and create a singularity? Man, that's awesome. Okay? That's something next level. That's something we don't ever see. But these testicles got to be pushed, guys. Got to be pushed a lot further than what we're going with them. There's a lot of experiment out there. That's why Sean's on another level, man, trying the stuff he does. So I can't wait to see it. By the way, if you think you understand an AC flyback when you see a Tesla coil do what an AC flyback does, forget all this AC and DC stuff, guys. What's coming out of there? Beautiful potential. Okay. It's pure energy for the earth. That's why everything's working on these graphs. Why what I'm doing is working. That's why what Gerald's doing is working. Is because it converts the energy back to the earth energy. That's really significant when you get to this stuff. So, man, we got a lot to work on, when we do this stuff. So, I love my Graviflyer project, but I love everybody else's projects too, man. I've seen a couple online. I talked to a couple people, man. They got some wild stuff going on too. So there was one guy that contacted me that wanted to talk to me about it. I hope he contacts me again on my email because he's got some cool stuff going on. By the way, when you guys, we showed the video the other day on Ben's show when he did the all day. And they talk about resonance between your motor and they talk about resonance between your transformer, right? So when they get in resonance with each other, they work better. But there also is something else going on here. The energy is different. So let me describe it like this. I put on my Tesla coil. I know, say it's 300 kilohertz, right? That's what my number 2 set like. I set my number 1. Okay, I try to set it at 300 kilohertz to match it, right? What happens? When you get to 299, it automatically drops and it goes down to 200. Craziest thing in the world. What's going on? I'm actually oscillating the Tesla coil. Perfect resonance at that point. It seems like an anomaly. Seems wrong. You think, hey, this number has to match this number and we're good. Not working that way. It's changing that energy. Okay? It's changing the way it works. Gerald has the same thing with his coil. The outside is set. The same exact frequency goes into the inside, but the inside changes. Why? His temperature difference changed. The outside's hot, the inside's cold. Why? Well, it goes like this. If this is your coil, okay, all you have to do is go like this. It's a never-ending spiral around the whole thing. Now, is it just one? No. That'd be too easy. Every time you go to it, another one starts. And then another one starts. And another one starts. And another one starts. Pretty soon, it just keeps multiplying how many start. Now, they never catch the other side, so there's not an end to it. It's a continuous for every one that starts, every single one of them that starts. That's why that energy in the room gets so big. So fast, so big. Now, what happens when all of that energy and it's coming around and it goes back into the center? Well, it compresses it. It doesn't kill it, it compresses it. It's just like one field standing on top of another field. They all just flow through. They get skinny and get in. Okay? Then they get back out and they get fat again. That's the way it works. Okay? That's it. That's why it's doing. It's compressing them. That's why there's so much more energy on the inside than there is on the outside. The only thing is how you use that energy. Do you bleed off of it on a cold circuit? That's the way to do it. Take a light with a filament and you can bleed off of it. Go over there and create heat out of it, and you're going to use it. You don't want to use it. Not the way he set it up. You want to pull off of it. You pull it like a cold circuit. Okay? Pull that energy out of it like that. You'll be just fine. Okay? Just like Gerard Morin. Okay? Same exact thing. All you have to do. Okay? You're creating a giant amount of energy. This is the way these things work, guys. Just like a Tesla coil, you think perfect oscillation means the same thing. Same number here, same number here. It doesn't. Not at all. It means it's going to change the frequency of the oscillation. It's going to be lower. Craziest thing I ever had happen with the ZVS Tesla coil. First time I hit perfect oscillation, and that's exactly what happened. Okay? It doesn't mean that they're off. It's just like when Bedini said, your wave's here, your other wave is just slightly off of it. But in a Tesla coil, you're dealing with kilohertz. So what happens is it looks a lot bigger than it is because the big numbers are more massive. That's it. That's really all it is. It looks, smaller on a smaller scale, bigger on a bigger scale. It's not really a problem. It just means that they're a little bit offset from each other, and we get a lot more out of it. Get it in perfect oscillation, does everything you want. Okay? One of the keys to these things, you have to understand energy and how it flows and how it changes. Doesn't mean that it's completely changed everything. It just means that it oscillates different and it stays cold. You know why I can run a tiny wire? This. Cheap dollar store wire. I can run a ZVS Tesla coil at 80 volts off of this. Okay? This little cheapy dollar store wire. Not a giant bar. Not a battery. Okay? Not a battery cable. This little cheap wire right here. Because it doesn't build up heat in it because it's always passing faster than the heat can blow it out. That's perfect oscillation. Okay? Every time you can pull that off, little cheap wire, okay? Greatest way to know if you're in perfect oscillation, right there. Because the heat can't build on it. It moves too fast. It's switching way too fast. Way too fast for that heat to build up. As soon as it's out of oscillation, it's a different story. And I have plenty of proof of that. Let me tell you that right now. I got plenty of videos where it's smoking, okay? Now, not smoking at all. I understand it now. I got it. So, totally different, man. Got to understand it. Right on, yeah. Right on. So, guys, let's see what else we got here in the comments, okay? Does Sean have a channel? Sean is going to be building his channel, okay? Hopefully it's on the same one that he uses right now. That'd be cool so everybody can find him. But, yeah, Sean, you hear that? They all want your channel, bud. They're all looking for you, man. Trust me. Once he does the show, you're going to want it even more. He's got a lot going on. So, he's aiming for 1,000,000 volts. Okay, hold on. Let's just stop right here. He wants a Tesla coil on his desk. Mind you, on his desk, not outside. Not as a fountain outside or something else. It's, fun. He wants it on his desk at 1,000,000 volts. That's insane. Like, what are you going to do with that? I mean, you're going to light it up, man. Your roof is not going to be safe. Not at all. We need to get you a whole different thing going on, man, to get 1,000,000 volts. That's a lot. But it proves the point. He gets 1,000,000 volts out of that thing, man. We can all get 1,000,000 volts out of it. We just have to learn what he's doing. So let's see what Gerald says. When you change energy, you draw the ether from the vacuum of the energy flow itself. And yes, I use empathy to build energy in this way. Entropy, sorry. Empathy. Two different things. Huh. Anyway, yeah. That's funny, man. Yeah, we got a lot to learn, guys, but we're getting there. This group is special. We keep adding to the group little by little, but we're special, man. We got something. We're all further along than most people think. Guys, I got projects in here that I don't show. And it's not because I don't want to. Well, probably a little bit because it take away from some of the stuff that everybody else is doing. I don't want to do that. We could create charging things, man, that's got, pounds with a force. Like it weighs grams, creates pounds with a force on a scale. How insane is that? But it's not anti-gravity. It's just a weight reduction. We put that on a rocket, and if it reduces the weight, man, we use so much less propellant. That'd be awesome. But that's not something I want to put on the channel right now. I'll probably put it on in the future. You know what I mean, as you go. But yeah. 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 Sean's amazing, man. Amazing guy. Okay. Oh, I don't know how that works. I'm sure crypto probably does. Brothers, yep. Basically, dude, Gerald and I, if we were in person, dude, it'd be a real fun ride. Let me just say it that way. I don't know what that means, but probably it's for somebody else. All right, let's take a look and we'll go on to something. So here's the thing, guys. I don't answer this question because I don't know. Light's energy, right? So is it light going in? Does it produce light? I guess Gerald will probably know better than I do. I don't see a whole lot of light difference in what I do. Okay. It's not really taken in there. Now, could it be in a different form? Absolutely. Am I just not seeing it? Probably. If I had some special, you know what I mean, glasses on, you know, show me some infrared, maybe look at a different camera, I probably see the light. But at this point, I don't see anything. So I can't really comment on it because I'm not witnessing it. So I don't want to send somebody in the wrong direction because I just don't know. So let's see. Yeah, we're all brothers for different. Yep. I tell you, the whole team's like that, man. You know, I caught some of it yesterday. And the only thing I'll say is when they do the math on it, it's a little bit off. Underneath it, you don't have perfect circles every time underneath. They're imperfect circles. So one's bigger or smaller, then they get bigger, and they get bigger. That's it. That's the only difference I would point out in that whole thing. Also, when you talk about the toroid that goes around, it's not one circle that goes around it. It's like I said, it's that spiral. Okay, multiple spirals. Okay, that'd be the only difference. All the rest of it is right there. It's all in the way it works. I mean, Steinmetz pretty much identified all the fields. And for Toy Maker out there, I've been reading a lot. Okay. Yeah, I do understand it. It kind of the opposite of the stuff that I'm doing, but yes, I am understanding it. So you don't always see it. Yeah. Maybe you could explain that better than I could, Gerald. Maybe I'm old and just have bad eyes. I don't know. Maybe the sun hasn't hit it just right. Maybe it's because I'm working at night. You know what I mean? It might be a whole multitude of different reasons right now. You know, usually I'm in my garage, so the light in here doesn't really change much when you do the stuff. And I'm not running high enough voltage to probably see anything. So I have to know both sides, see it in the middle. Well, probably. And frustration. Okay, hold on. Let's see what he said before the reason I keep bringing up is because of the specific properties. I truly feel that the most interesting way to manipulate the coil field is with the mineral in a constant state of flux. Well, yes. Let me think about that for a minute. We have a constant state of flux as we go through the ether. Okay. And is it a mineral or is it an energy? I don't know. To me, it seems like an energy. However, what builds in there may be something totally different. Okay. There may be a center part where it builds out. There was one video I was watching where they showed the center when they did it in the vacuum, and it was building energy in a ball, like a ball lightning right in the center. So can that convert to a mineral or any other state? Sure. The crystalline form keeps growing, by the way. We're talking about crypto stuff. It would keep growing inside there. So could that be a mineral that's always in movement? Yes. Is it probably what you're talking about? Probably not. But that's how I identify it right now until we can get into the exact minerals you're talking about and where they are. And then you'd have to let everybody get in on that one because it's going to take some understanding from everybody to see what you're seeing. So let's see. Yes, it's crystal. Okay. Quantum liquid spin. So let me just say this. If we wanted to build a control center for a craft, how would I do it? Okay. Crystal in the center. Okay. Water around it. 2 electrodes hooked in there just into the water. And here's the thing. In order to pull any energy out that's in the crystal or to affect the crystal, you must pulse that crystal. It's got to be like a strike. Okay. It's the only way to wake it up. Crystal ain't doing nothing until you do it. Okay. It ain't awake. Wake that sucker up. Okay. A little bit of tap. Piezoelectricity on the outside. Pulse it with the ultrasound. Boom, boom, boom. Tap it. Wake it up. Wake it up. Okay. Say hello. All right. Depending on your pulse rate at that point and your frequency of it, you may be able to change it to do what you want. Where all the identifying factors are, I don't know. Okay. But that's how I would start. See what it does. Once you see what it does, adjust from there. Okay. It may be that something works better than the other. Okay. It might be in a different way. But I do know this about quartz. The only way to get to activate it is it needs to be in some form of water. Okay. Some sort of liquid medium. Could that be another solution of something else? Yes, it can. I won't say no. All I'm saying is it needs some kind of liquid in order to pull that energy out or use it. If you just want to light it up, okay, you just have to have it in some form of liquid, okay? You don't want it dry. That's all I would say about it, okay? That's why quartz and granite work so well, because the granite pulls in the water in there and it stays around the quartz. And now it can pull the energy out of it because it has a medium to do so. We generally just take 2 pieces of quartz and strike them together in order to get that spark. You want to pull the spark out of it? Put the water around it. It's the only way you're going to get it out. Now, you could put a higher potential of electricity fluid in there, something that works with electricity a lot better, and you can pull more out. Of that, I have no doubt. Okay? It's just a matter of how you do it. And that's the only way to get it out of quartz the right way. Is strike it out of it, not really. You want to use it as a timepiece, tap it, taps back, that's fine. Okay? But you want the true energy out of it, get that sucker wet. So, yes, that's what I'm saying. But suspension, okay? Piezoelectric effects in the electrolyte. Yeah, electrolyte, perfect. Probably more energy in that. Yeah. Suspension, just a simple rod to it. You know what I mean? That hooks into it on each side. Probably perfect. If I were to venture to say, it's probably more of what they were describing when Ralph Ring described it in the OTCX1. He was probably describing that in that form. Electrolytes, instead of the water, maybe in the water, okay, with the piezoelectricity in there, and just something holding it, suspending it where it needs to be so that it doesn't touch the sides of it. Exactly. That's, I think, exactly where he was going with that. By the way, I love that OTCX1. I built one, and I gave it away. And it was a long time back before I started my channel. I could probably build another one. I find it funny that if you build a Tesla coil, you understand this, right? Capacitors are on those plates. It's a round plate, little bumps up that come up. What are those? Those are the capacitors, okay? So you have capacitors on the plate. You have a C-shaped magnetic field going over a neutron. Neutron has frequency in it, okay? As it spins, has a frequency chamber. Inside is hollow. It's frequency chamber, okay? Electricity on the outside, it creates a field around it. Doesn't like aluminum. Remember what I said, it stays off the aluminum. So the energy itself is activating the frequency chamber. That's what it's doing, okay? The other side of that is the C-shaped part. It comes across a capacitor like this. So it's now charging the capacitor as it goes by. It's an intermittent charge of the capacitor. It fills up the capacitor releases. What happens? It goes into your Tesla coil in the center. Your Tesla coil in the center is now connected to the outside frame. And it'll create a continuous loop back to the C-shaped capacitor. That's it. That's the whole wiring. That's all of it. So when you spin it up in the atmosphere, what do you get? You get all the energy just like a Corona motor. So does it create over unity at that point? Yes, it does. Why? Because you're amplifying the energy going in by adding more energy from the atmosphere. That's what OC Car was saying. That's it. It's as simple as that. This is not rocket science here. It's just UFO building. We're just keeping it simple and keeping it real. That's all you need to do. Okay? It's a self-regulating system. Okay? It just goes around the same way. So if you build your Tesla coil, just think of it as a Tesla coil with 6 capacitors. Okay? And then you're going to get the capacitor discharge. That's it. So hopefully that's pretty simple for everybody to understand. And you need the Tesla coil in there because it's got to create the outer field. Okay? And it's going to fill up with static electricity on the inside because the neutron is going to force it all over the inside of that craft. You're not getting away from that. It's going to happen. You're going to be glad it happened. But as you can see, it's not much different from what I'm working on, what Gerald's working on. It's all the same goal. It's just different ways of achieving it. That's really it. I mean, if you can understand the unifying theory between all of them, which is high static electricity, a bubble to hold it in, and it has to have frequency at the right rate, then the rest of it's all pretty simple. Okay? It just comes down to which parts you want to use for what effect. That's it. A lot of people use aluminum. There's a reason for aluminum being used. It does not like to hold the field in it. It likes to keep it off of it. That's why everybody builds them out of aluminum. Now, titanium might be better. You know what I mean? A little more strength than aluminum. Put that nice coat on the outside of that crystalline with a nice under layer of metal. Oh, right there. Right there is what we want, man. Love it. So, oh, yeah, well, I guess once you see it differently, it's easy. You know what I mean? I would hope that everybody, kind of understands it. So, yeah, we'll have to check that out further, man. I'm actually really interested in that. So, maybe, you can send me an email and we can get together all offline and we'll just kind of discuss that. But yeah, that right there is kind of some really interesting stuff. So, yeah, probably go down infamous for that line. Oh, borax coating. I never used borax coating. We'll have to talk about that. Yeah, get with me and we'll discuss it, man. We'll have to look at that because I think that's a magnificent idea and it really ties into what we're doing. It's probably a part that we need to all understand. So, okay. Do I think that UFOs are man-made? That's an interesting question. Okay. I'm a little bit old school. I love hieroglyphics. I love cuneiform. Okay. Old school story. Cuneiform. Okay. They tell you there was a planet between Jupiter and Mars. They tell you that the inhabitants of that planet, they knew their world was going to be destroyed. They inhabited Mars and the Earth. So you decide, are we them? Okay. I think if you say anybody got created to build something or get gold for somebody, right? Then it would have been the Neanderthal, not us. Their bodies are perfect for going out and doing more heavy labor. We're kind of weak for heavy labor. Now, as crazy as that sounds, if you're doing it on an industrial scale, you don't want humans. You want something else. You want like ants or something really big, or you want, you know what I mean? You want something else. Okay. We can do labor, but we're not built for it because our bodies break down too fast. I can tell you that from personal experience. Okay. You're only getting, 5-10 years out of it, and your body starts to quit on you. So there's something different going on here, guys. Could it be a precursor to what we are? Some civilization that was there, gone, and now, back as us, and we're starting to get there? I think that's possible. I think probably more probable. Do I think there's still a civilization that probably might live in the center of the earth? Sure. They have big caverns down there. It would make sense if we all, came back to life, you know what I mean? And again and again and again, we would then understand a flat earther's perspective because they lived in a big underground thing that looked like flat earth. That would make more sense. But we know the earth is round and we live on the surface, and we die faster because we live on the surface. So that kind of sucks for us. But the only way to get off the planet is to be on the surface as well. At some point, you got to learn on your own. So, yeah. I don't agree with the flat earth thing, by the way. That's the only way it ties in. Other than that, man, that's something else. Okay. Yeah, anything possible. That's right. Of course, they have Martian colonies probably. You know what? Have any of you had a telescope and actually seen Mars? I'd love to know, because what they try to tell us and what is actually going on might be two different things. Never discount that possibility. You never know, man. You just never know. And until I meet one of them, I won't know. Love to. You show up at a UFO at my house, we're going joyriding. Okay. We're going around this solar system. We're going to look at everything. I'm going to be the ultimate tourist. Okay. We're taking pictures. We're looking out the window. We're going over to Mars. We're seeing the pyramids there. We're seeing all the structures on there. We're seeing the face. Want to see it without any kind of people telling me what it is. I just want to see it. Okay. I want to do all of it. Okay. I want to go float around the whole solar system. So give me a ride and let's go. That's the way it works. Okay. If you see me gone one day, that's where I'm going. Or the government took me, whichever. We'll find out at that point. No, I have not. It talks about the Joe Park gravity wheel. Ooh, I wanted to learn more about that. Okay, I'm going to have to go back in here and remember that. We all wanted to learn about Joe Parr on this channel, so that would be perfect. I'll pull that. Maybe we'll make it into a Texas speech thing, and I'll listen to it. I would demand it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we'll go. We'll pick up everybody, man. We're gonna all get abducted at once. You know what I mean? What happened to all the guys that worked on the UFO stuff on YouTube? They all got picked up at once. The UFO came and picked them all up, took them all away, and we all joyrided the universe. Hopefully they got something good to drink on there. That's all I'll say. We'll probably blow up when we get back. Our bodies will be all exploded in water weight because it's so much different. Yeah. That's funny. Google Maps. Ooh. Hey, Crypto, did you look up that right there? I'd love to see that on your channel. That'd be awesome. Generic has quantum in the measurement of polarity used. Light is distributed to ether. Yeah. That's possible right there, man. I'm getting, yeah. Look that thing up, man. Tell me where it goes to, because it'd be cool to see, because he's got something. So we'll see what he's got. Take me away, yeah. Let's all go, man. Yeah. Please save it for me. Okay. I'll look back in the feed and try to grab it. Never get back to Earth. Would you want to come back? That's a question for you. If there's a society that lives with all this stuff understood, would you want to come back? I mean, that's a real question you got to ask yourself. I mean, of course you want to be here for your family and friends, but if they went with you, I don't know that I want to come back. You know what I mean? I can use a thing where I can live a really healthy, long life and, you know, be able to do this stuff without being persecuted for doing UFO stuff, man. I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Love to be in that kind of place. Okay. So it'd be a decision to make. You'd have to say, okay, we're going, or I'm going, or whoever's going, and then that's it. You have to make that decision for you and your family and go with it. I can tell you this, I'm going. So, because I'm only going to live so long on this earth, you know, in this form. So I'm there. More likely for a vacation, yeah. It's funny. Walter Russell says that any object taken from our Earth sphere influences taken to Jupiter or another planet object. You know, I don't know about that. I don't know that I believe that at all. Disintegrate. Well, all disintegrate after time, but you know, no, I really don't. I don't agree with that. I honestly think we'll be just fine. You know, we'll have to deal with putting the spaceship together the right way, but I think we'll be just fine. At least that's what I'm going to keep telling myself until I'm in the middle of nowhere with nothing but duct tape and a Mountain Dew can. Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to tell myself. We're going to be all right. We're going to keep this going. Okay, cool head, get through it. So it works. Autocorrect. That hits me so many times, man. It makes me sound worse than I usually sound. Oh, red green style. Yeah, there's something to that. You know, everybody has their own belief, man. So, you know, completely believe in God. I don't necessarily go into churches. So I don't know what that means, but I know there's somebody putting all this together, and we got to respect that. So, you know, that's the side I fall on. What else everybody tells me, I don't know that I believe that. I guess when I go and meet the man or meet the entity, however you want to say it, don't mean any disrespect, then, you know, I'll be told and set straight in every which way. So we'll find out. Oh, we got to practice our remote viewing skills for UFOs. Yeah. You can remote view me on the UFO going crazy. Yeah. When I'm up there. Be like they'll probably just turn off the, what is that? Just like the inertia, to turn off the inertia dampeners and let me feel the force just to see what I do. Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me. That'd be like a UFO game or something like that. Kind of like fitting in with the guys. You know what I mean? Sometimes they pull a prank on you. I don't doubt aliens would do that to you. That'd be hilarious. So, all right, guys, let's talk a little bit more about the Graviflyer. I'm going to pull up something here for you guys. Let me take a look. Man, it's fun to get on here and do things. You know, I like to talk about all this stuff and work on things, man. Let's see if we can't put Hutchison up. I want to take a look, and then I'll see if I can't pull up Graviflyer. So I want to see how it lifts off, because I want you guys to all see it. So, okay, I found it. So give me just a second. Let me pull this in.
Inventor John Hutchison has drawn widespread attention from businessmen and government scientists since 1979, when he began using ultra-high electromagnetic frequencies to transform matter in some very unusual ways. It has come to be known as the Hutchison effect.
The objects you're seeing moving there is a form of levitation by translational movement, meaning that the objects become lighter and can float around. The heaviest being the barium cylinder that you see there, with the two wires coming out of it, tends to slide around on 7 pounds of its own weight. Physics of it is self-resonation of what they call ferromagnetic and piezoelectric barium titanate through a power amplifier and broad and narrow bands of electrical energy going into this crystal. So the applications of this in advanced applications using free energy or zero-point energy to power it would be in propulsion technologies. This is a crystal converter unit that I made about a year ago to see if the principle worked, and indeed it seems to work to this day. The principles involve the Casimir effect and space charge type of barrier technology in semiconductors, and a jitter activity called zero-point energy that goes through time and space. The idea is to get the material inside this to interface with the jittering action of zero-point energy. And moving on to what they may look like inside, I actually bring out a piece here of this material, of common minerals and that, produced in a special way, and I take a reading here. And I should be getting a higher reading. I had a hot spot somewhere on here. I have here almost a half a volt, as you can see. As one can see, there's no batteries in this or anything else except just crystalline material with different configurations. And this is a steady state. It's always that, and has been tested up to a year's time and under stress tests also. So, which made me decide to then, of course, mount the same material in cylinders. Different cylinders, of course, there are different mixes in there, and I found that that some of the cylinders are not as powerful as this material here, or this very tiny one here. Actually, this has more power than this large artillery shell unit here. And what I want to do, of course, is to demonstrate it in the sense of it making actual power. That means to turn a small motor. Okay, I'm attaching this to the base here. Another lead to the top, and it should spin, which it does. So yeah, basically, this kind of material powering motors. Of course, it's a very small motor at this time, but scaled up in larger amounts of material and power up to several horsepower if needed.
Hutchison hopes his simple shake and bake method of producing these crystal energy converters will attract investors who can see the potential of permanent batteries which never need charging.
Non-toxic, that will interface with zero-point energy in space and time.
Hutchison's more dramatic experiments border on the paranormal and have generated more than just a passing interest from U.S. military research labs. Hutchison's more dramatic experiments.
Did you see how that lifted off real light? it just looked like it didn't have the same weight anymore. Okay. Let's go back and we're just going to look at it again.
Experiments border on experiments border.
Now, let's go into a different thing. And I'm going to share. Oops. So this right here is the Graviflyer video. You guys have all seen it. Let's get to the lift point. Sorry, I'm trying to work this and find it. It said lift on the video, and I don't know if it's the wrong one. Give me a second. I just want to show where it lifts off versus what Hutchison was doing. Okay, here comes the part right here. No, any day now. See, he's adjusting it. We see the clicks. We know where he's at. Come on now. There he goes. He's pushing the button. All right. Do you see how light it was lifting? There he goes, pushing the button. Just like that. So what is it? What we're looking at here, guys, is it's the same lift. It only comes when you have the same thing going on, okay? Longitudinal transverse wave and a ton of static electricity. It's the only way it works. This is what he's showing. This craft is working just like what John was doing over there. They're working the same way. We have the same lift. Okay. It's not changing. It's not jumping drastically. It's just lifting off like it lost weight. Like it just, like the gravity just didn't have a hold of it anymore. That's what it looks like. It's like he created a bubble around it and then that bubble just let it take off. That's it. And I think when we're talking about, oh man, I keep putting the wrong name in my head. We're talking about John on this one. Okay. Sorry, I keep saying John. Hutchison. We're looking at Hutchison here. Okay. Sorry. We're looking at Hutchison effect. He's doing it in a big open cavity. Okay. The whole room must be filled. Okay. With what he's doing. But then you think, okay, he's got the Tesla coil going, so the field must be concentrated on that plate. So in order for it to lift off, it still has to be around the plate. That's kind of the understanding that I have of it. It has to be in that area somewhere in order for it to link up well enough. Now, I don't see the rest of the video where it comes down. We just see it take off. But I would imagine it drops like a rock. As soon as that effect's out of it, it immediately falls because it's not staying within that zone where the Tesla coil is connected. You know, even though the whole thing on the inside is a field bubble. So I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. I just know that the lift itself is the same. So it gives verification to the fact of what Alexi's doing is it's been done before. We've seen this from Hutchison. We've seen it from Alexei. We've also seen it from Kurbennikov. Okay. When he lifts those rocks and stuff off the top of that box and I couldn't find it right away, it's absolutely amazing that they're the same. It tells you now you just have to study all three and find out what the similarities are. That's what I've been doing. I look at all three. Okay, what products are they using? Are they using Tesla coils? Are they using electrostatics? Okay, what else is involved in it? Is there any piezoelectric element in it? Is it resonating? Okay, all factors have to be considered when doing it. If whatever they're doing, all three of them link up in one way. They all work. They all use the same things. Okay, which ones can you throw out? All the ones that don't agree with each other. That's where you start. Okay. You want to start a project like that? That's where you start. All the things that are similar, put them all on the same table. Okay, this is where we start. Let's see where we finish. Okay. There might be a reason for those other things being in there based on the way that they built something. It may have to have it because of the way they build it. But just to understand what's going on, it doesn't take that. You just have to take what it is. You're simplifying the answer by the knowns versus the unknowns. Put all the knowns on the table. Let's look at it. Let's see exactly what's going on, which parts are imperative and which ones aren't. That's it. That's what we're going to look at. That's what we have to know. Okay? That's static. You can't. I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't ever discount it because it's be the worst mistake you ever made. Okay? Without that, I'm going to tell you right now, I ran my Graviflyer without it. Zero happened. Zero. Okay? Big, fat, whopping zero. No special effects, no extra energy. Nothing started to line up right. Nothing was right. Okay? That static has to be there. It does not build the same. It will not build that bubble. Magnetism will not build that bubble. It won't. It just won't. It has to be built in a specific way. Okay? Then you can change it once it's there. But you have to build it right. It has to go in the right way. Okay? It really is an understanding of this. It has to be built that right way. Okay? Don't try to overdo it. Don't try to get crazy with it. Build it the right way. That's it. Okay? If you know it works, it works. Okay? Alexi's project's a little bit different. There's a little bit more involved in it. And it takes a little bit longer to figure it out versus everything else. See, when you reverse engineer something, man, it isn't your project. You don't get to change everything. You have to find out exactly what they're doing and break it down. Once you get there, you'll be all right. Okay? Then you can start to see in everybody else's project what's going on. You always seem like you're a step ahead. And it's going to drive people nuts because you've seen it. You've already been there. So you know what's coming next. Okay? It's not that hard. It's simple understanding. I've seen this. It's going to happen to you. It's going to happen when you get to that next level. This is going to have to happen. I know what you need now because I can see it in what I'm doing. Okay? I'm building these things just like you. Okay? You know that I'm working on it. You could see the results. And I can translate that into your project because I know what you're doing. And there's certain things I won't know what you're doing because we don't have all the intricate details of your plans. Guys, that's why I put this whole thing out. I put everything out. If it had something to do with Alexi, I put it out there. If you come to an understanding of the project he's working on at that time, I showed it to you. If it's all the parts that he used originally, I showed them to you. Okay? Everything. There's still controversies on certain things, but when Alexi tells you that, hey, you want a circuit for a Tesla coil? Let me pull it out of my book and put it on there. As soon as he says that, man, I ain't listening to your directions on how to build my Tesla coil. Get out. You gave me some generic piece of junk that didn't work. You left it up to me to find out, which is fine. You should have just said that. Hey, put a Tesla coil here. Gotcha. I'll figure it out. As soon as we ran it on the Graviflyer, we figured out right there, 300 kilohertz off. Why? Because we didn't take the capacitance of the Graviflyer into account when we built it. Nobody did. Hey, there's people out there still building these things thinking they're 100% right, which aren't, because they have no idea. It's like putting a top load on their Tesla coil that's wrong. You'll take it right out of oscillation, okay? Completely. You want it to resonate perfectly? You better do it right, okay? You don't just use a Slayer-Steiner circuit. What happens to the back EMF you're going to create, or the back pressure, the feedback? It's going to blow that circuit every time. I don't care what protections you put on it. It's going to blow it, okay? Unless you can put a fuse over there and blow the fuse every time, that's what it's going to do. But is it going to give you that back pressure that you want, that feedback? No. No, it's not. Okay? The only way to get that is to understand how to build that Tesla coil right. It is the absolute key how to do this. The absolute key. The rest of it's pretty easy to figure out. That thing is like a whole, doing it to your mind kind of thing. You know what I mean? All day while you're trying to figure it out. So one of the hardest things, man, I've ever had to learn is that. And it's not because it's an average Tesla coil. We can all build one. We can force oscillation with a Slayer-Steiner circuit. Okay. What we have to realize is the capacitance of it and how to fix it. And that was one of the key things. And then also you have to put a toggle switch on it. Leave about 4 inches, man. 4 inches of winding separate from the rest of the whole thing. And toggle between all of them on together, and then just the amount from those 4 inches up. Okay? Figure that one out. You got to toggle between the two. Okay? It's important. You don't want necessarily the feedback when he wants it in his craft if you're trying to figure it out. Now, once you have everything perfect, it's perfectly fine to do it that way. But in order to figure it out and test it, you have to toggle it. Okay? You have to be able to switch from resonating properly to not resonating properly without blowing everything up, and be able to do it. And it's not long. You just need a second or less than a second. Okay? Just to get that pop. That's all you want. You don't want to use up all the energy. Just want to use up enough to make it lift. It's just boom, real quick. Just boom. Probably faster than that. Okay? Once you have that, now I can take an Arduino and make it work. Okay? I can get the pop whenever I want. Not when he wants it. I want it when I want it. Okay? I want to control it. And that's how you do it. Once you put the toggle in there, now you can control it. Now, switching to a different, brain to put in there like the Arduino, that's real simple. Now I've simplified it. Everything else self-corrects. The lift is where you have to have the brains of it. So that's just kind of how I see it, guys. Probably not everybody sees it that way, but that's okay. It didn't mean I messed up his project, because his Tesla coil was flawed already when he tried to give us a generic one. So I'm just improving it to the way I want it now, because he gave me something that didn't work, and I don't like that. Okay. I need the electrostatics in there. Okay. So, and it kind of forms a lack of a better term, a triple capacitor. So plate, you know what I mean? Or a double, like a capacitor in here, capacitor in there. You know what I mean? I don't know the best way to say that, but it's like an S sandwich sometimes when you think about it. But I don't know. There's another way to do it. You don't need the center plate. You can use the top and bottom plate and create a capacitor as long as you understand how to do it. The harder part with that one is you're going to have to understand the magnetics versus the charge a lot better. In the charge, you're going to be able to fill up the field. In the magnetics, you have to use it to capacitor. You have to understand the flip. Right there. If you don't understand that flip, don't try it. I got to understand the flip. You got to understand how electricity flows in order to make that one work. It's a difference in understanding completely. You're still getting a flip with the other one, but it's not as crucial as this one is. This with just a straight, plastic plate in the center, you better understand the flip. Okay. You've got to be able to go because you're going to need to charge up that field. Then you're going to need to flip it right quick to magnetics. Okay. To make that capacitor design work. So it's possible. You just have to do it that way. And you have to intentionally build it that way. So anyway. Creates the 99 field the same way as a simple desk plasma thruster. Yeah. That's it. You got it right on. High voltage, very small amps, milliamps, really small. It's potential. That's all it is. It's the same thing. So yeah, that's all you have to know. Okay, but distance is important. When you turn off the light, you don't want to see the plasma. Okay, but you want it to be there. If that makes a lot of sense to you. If you create the plasma, you're using the ions, and you don't want that. You don't want that. Keep them far enough apart where you're using the charge, then you can flip it to magnetic. If you use the ions, you're already heating it up, and you're failing. So you can't have the, plasma look because it's already a failure. It has to be there without you seeing it's there. That way you can create a charge instead of the plasma. And that's what you need. I see a lot of people out there doing these things with these static experiments. They don't understand the difference between charge and statics or anything else. And it makes it really difficult. Okay. You know what? I'll pull another video for you guys. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me, I'll play one of these is already up since we have. All right, just so you guys know, on this, when he's turning his Tesla coil, remember that clicking sound I was telling you about? If you want to hear it louder, turn the amount of power to your Tesla coil up until it gets in sync with that ultrasound. Okay? That's what you're doing. You're turning your Tesla coil up and you're moving it and it'll get louder. Okay? That's what he's looking for. Okay, he's looking for it to get a little louder. That's it. That was his trick. All right, pull that one off. And I'll go ahead and show you another one. So go ahead and find a way to minimize me. There we go. All right, this video, guys, right here, this is somebody validating what I'm telling you about voltage right here. He's going to show you when you change the frequency, or when you change, when you change the frequency, it's going to change the voltage in amps, and he's not going to move the power source at all. It's going to stay the same. All he's going to do is manipulate it, okay? And I'll let you guys see that. So let's take me out, and I'll.
And there it is. You hear that? That's what we're talking about right there. He's totally right. There's a 5-to-1. Okay. As we know, everything is connected. You know, you can't just change one thing and expect to get something, you know, isolated. Everything changes and moves with it. All right. So we're also looking at the actual resonant frequency of the flyback system itself, right? So I'm changing the pulse width. You notice we've dropped in voltage, right? There's a raise in amperage, pulse width down, right? Raise in voltage, drop in amperage. See that? Now we're increasing the frequency. Now we're decreasing the frequency. Now you hear that, right? So we're coming out of the ultrasonic range. Right, and this has a lot to do with the resonant frequency of our flyback, right? So everyone's slightly different. You got to kind of find your zone. So look where we're at right now. 8 grand. Right, let's take it all the way. Right. So you see that now we're way high on the amperage, right? So we'll change the pulse width. Yep, wrong way, right? See that? Lowering of amperage, raising of voltage. Right? You can hear it kind of slowing down. So yeah, highly recommend checking out Old Man Build's video on this particular subject. There is a lot going on, right? All right. Thanks, you guys, for watching. Hope that kind of makes some sense, right? There's always, see that? There it is. You go up, you go down, right? More current draw, less current draw. Right? They're always related, right? And of course, always related to your resonant frequency of what's happening. Whether you've got a flyback, you know, or you've got a flyback with a DC converter on it. All right. Yeah, I think that kind of shows some visual of what he's trying to describe, right? You ride a constant signal with a varying signal. You change the duty cycle. You change the frequency. See that? As we lower the frequency, we get a raise in amps. There we go. Higher the frequency, lower amps, right? More volts. Yep, and a different style of discharge. You can see it's not super happy with that. It's kind of, right? Come back down a little. All right. And look at that, we're back up to almost 8 amps. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.
Before I play. All right, guys, so you've seen that. That's kind of trippy, isn't it? All you're doing is changing the external factors. That's it. Frequency and duty cycle completely changes your voltage. When you put it in, you didn't think it was going to change, did you? That's why we do the test. We have to know. Gerald, this happened to your coil right in the center of it from the outside. Completely different numbers. Test the coil like I told you how I built it. Completely different numbers. It's changing what's going on in your project. You have to keep track of it. That's why a lot of these meters and stuff, when you get them, you start to see things you didn't see before. I love it when somebody validates me or proves me wrong for that matter. All I want to know, hey, I'm doing it. I'm seeing it. Are you seeing the same thing? Sure enough, right there. Flame Jet 54 is, I believe, what his channel is. We did a profile on his channel, by the way. Awesome stuff that he's got going on there. That swirling device right there. That's oh man, I'm trying to think of names and my brain's just letting out on me right now. A TT Brown device right there. So he's running that thing. It's going in the circle. The TT Brown device, but you can see how it affects it. Sometimes it doesn't run properly. Sometimes it does, based on the volts and amps you put into it. You got to make it happy. So when you start adjusting those things, you can really tune things in. You think it's just the volts and amps. It's not. It's they can lie to you, because they're all the same wattage. I don't think the wattage changed at all. But how you built that watt was a lie. It changed in the volts and amps. You could be doing it and not even knowing it. You could be doing all these light bulb experiments, turning on all these lights and not realizing that you're drawing your amps down so far that it almost becomes a static volt and it's going over top of the light bulb instead of going into it. I mean, how do you know? This is why we do the test. At some point, you'd have to have something connected to the top of your light bulb in order to see it if it went off and it became static. But it's verification, guys. You got to have it. You know what I mean? You got to look at this stuff a bit differently. It's going to change the project, man. It just does. And I wish I had an oscilloscope that was 3D. Okay. And what do I mean by that? You want just like a EM wave. Okay. You want to see it this way, but I want to see it this way, but I want more. I want to see it here. I want to see it here. And I want to see it here. I want to see it. It goes around that dial. Okay. When I show that to you, I want to know which side it's on. I want to know if it's in static form or did I go into a magnetic form. I want to know, is my voltage high? Is my voltage low? Is my amps high? Is my amps low? Do I have a magnetic wave going on? Okay. Do I have something else going on? Okay. Is it becoming radiant? Do I need to worry about radiation at that point? If I had an oscilloscope that showed me all that in one easy thing to see, man, that'd be a game changer. Complete game changer. Okay. Let me go back to that video real quick. And I'm just going to show you something here. So if you look at the upper right side right there, I have this little star looking thing, right? And the things kind of go across from each other when you look at it. So if you look at the frequency, it turns into sound. If you look at the charge, it turns into magnetism. If you look at the radiation comes in every time that you have heat. It starts to change things, okay? Voltage and amps are across from each other. They'll shift. This is just the beginning stages of the chart. You can see the little chart right below it. That's what I mean. I want the angles. I want to know how it goes in and goes out like that in an oscilloscope. That tool would be invaluable. Okay. It would be worth every dime you can spend on it. Okay. That would be totally awesome. It changes the way you understand this stuff, guys. It would change your whole project. It could go from failure with the same exact parts. Okay. So you could take the same exact parts, throw a trigger circuit on it, and it works because you could change your frequency. That's as simple as it is. A $5 circuit could change your whole project just like that. Just like that. It's that simple. A simple transistor could do the same thing, just like Bedini does. Okay. All you have to do is know how it works. You add a rider circuit to it. You're going to sit there, and that's all it is, a trigger circuit. You're adding a rider to it. You're going to add music to it. You're going to add frequency to it. You're going to change the duty cycle. Okay? It's that simple. It goes from a failed project to a successful one. Plus, it gives you more information. It tells you how to build that watt. Okay? It's very specific. You can have actual numbers that you can jot down every single part to it. Then other people can replicate your project. If you give me your project and it has a watt in it, and you want me to figure out how that worked, I'm going to have to break it down that way. I'm going to have to look and see at everything that's in it and how it reacts while it's running. That's the difference. I'm telling you up front how it does it because I know how it works. There's no more guesswork in it. It takes it all out. So when you write your little Arduino program, you can put this in correctly. Okay? And you know where the parameters are. If at some point some kind of external factor makes it react and have more of a magnetic field, you know to raise the frequency a little bit more in order to thin that back out. It's a game changer. It helps you deal with the environment around you. When you get up to that ozone layer, it's going to be different than you here on the surface of the earth. You're going to have to know how to change this. Okay? You're going to get different voltages coming in. It's going to send your craft crazy. Okay? It's going to be much higher frequency up there. Okay? It's going to scream at you. So, anyway, I'm just telling you it changes. I just got Bernie to try to pop in and says his device is not connected. I try to, it won't even let me do anything. Anyway, I just wanted to convey that understanding to you. I'm going to go ahead and remove some of this stuff off of here. And cut this down. Maybe that's causing the problem where you can't get in. Let's take some comments here, see what we go on here. Straight dope. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of good information. You guys should, if you're doing this kind of stuff, what I mean? It really will help you in all your projects. Okay. I'll tell you that right now. Am I posting another Graviflyer update? This is kind of it, guys, until I get to that final stage. I'll remark a little bit about it. But I'm kind of in the end times of it. I did a video today to show you how the Bedini part had worked with the magnet. But one of the next stages of this is showing the progress. So I'm not ready to do that yet, but I'm real close. So it's not going to anybody, by the way. I'll get it and I'll show it. And that's it. And then I'll give all the hot behind the scenes stuff to all the team members and they can make a video about it wherever they want. But, that's kind of where it is. You know what I mean? I want this thing to come to a point where I no longer get the comment about strings. And I should have thicker skin than this. But when you get hundreds of them, it drives me nuts. Okay? It's not working that way. It's somebody just watching 2 seconds of a video and I just have to make that comment. And I'm trying to just show you the science behind it. So I'm just going to just do it. And then, it is what it is. And then hopefully I left enough information out there for you guys. I think I did. I think with everything I keep showing it, I'm trying to just clear out those rough edges of this stuff. And then you'll see it. It'll all make sense. And then, we'll probably do some lives and talk about it a little bit and kind of go over it. That's kind of where I'm going with this. So, let's see what we got going on. What do we have? The swamp will be drained. Yeah. I'm not in an echo chamber here, guys. I'm letting everybody else get in on the deal. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Sean. Yeah. You know what, guys? We have to put it out this way. Sorry, my ear. I lost my hearing aid. Blew it up. Anyway, thing go in my ears that don't usually don't. Kind of freaks me out. But anyway, what does I say? I'm going to record your info Nathan in my book. Yeah, do it. Do it all you want, man. It's all out there for free. Look, guys, please never misunderstand my channel. Take it. Take it all. I have Creative Commons, guys. I'm not hiding it. Okay? You want to comment on it? Hey, drop me a line. Tell me you commented on it. Okay? You got something more to add to it that maybe I should have added to it? Do it. Tell me about it. Let me watch it. I love to watch it. Critique it. I mean, if you got the knowledge, man, show it. That's kind of what this is. You know, I really just don't care. Take it. You know, it's on the internet. You're going to rip it anyway. You know what I mean? Go for it. But let's have a conversation about it. That's what I want. You know what I mean? I think Gerald wants the same thing. Just tell me what it is. And we are golden. Okay? That's it. You know what I mean? Because there's some things I may miss. You know what I mean? Some things that we could do in another project. There's things that we could build on for solid state. I mean, that's going to be cool. This project, oh my God, dude. Like, oh, well, all these moving parts, they're unnecessary. They are completely unnecessary. Okay? I'm losing my hair as it is. I think I lost more of it. Okay? So much unnecessary things that should be so much simpler. Okay? It's like building it before the computer age came along. You know what I mean? Before we had transistors that worked. Even at that, some of them are junk, and I'd rather have part mechanical when it comes to some of that. But regardless of that, we could do it in solid state. Gerald's doing it already. You know what I mean? It's like two different worlds. I'm in the Flintstone age with the one I'm doing, and here he is in like beyond the computer age of doing it. Okay, it's like the Jetsons meet the Flintstones, man. It's a trip, but all the same part. They do the same thing. You know what I mean? It's a difference in understanding, man. I'd rather be in the Jetsons mobile than over here with my feet hurting all day. So, yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, Gerald says me too. Just give it away. You know, the more people that replicate this, guys, then it's going to stay out there. I think that's where Gerald and I are going with it. You know, we're okay with the information getting out there. We're all good with it. As long as you use it for productive purposes to help society, we're good. You start using it for something else, man, you ain't going to be part of what we're doing. That's for sure. So we only want things that are constructive for everybody else. You know, like I said, we'd all like to hop on that UFO and go somewhere. So let's build it. Yeah, build it big enough for everybody, and let's all have some fun. And then when we're done, we'll give it back to the scientists and let them roam the galaxy and tell us all the mistakes they made about how the planets are actually built. That would be fun. I would watch that all day. But it you know, I think even at their perspective, they would love to travel everything and say, you know what? I'm glad I was wrong. I'm glad I found out the right answer. And I think that benefit us all. And I could be done. And everybody else would take on the mantle from there and build it out. That's what I want. Yeah, Sean's in on that. It's all right. Gerald's a great guy. Great guy. Oh, Obama would steal it. Oh, that's hilarious. Obama. Oh, that's funny. Oh my God. Ruined your rep. He said put his saddle on it. Oh, like that guy riding that missile or the rocket. Remember that old time movie? Like guy's riding it all the way in. That's hilarious. I had a buddy. Check this out. We had a propane tank here at the house, okay? And I took my 4x and I'm gonna pull this thing out. Okay. So what does he do? He goes and straddles this thing, okay, and holds on like he's riding a horse, okay. Here we are with this propane tank, and I hope it's empty, okay. But at any time, we could hit a rock, we could hit a pole, we could hit something else, man. He got blew up from the, downtown region first, and that can't be good. But man, it was just hilarious. I had to stop the truck and just get out and laugh. Okay, I mean something that absurd. You can't help it. Okay, sometimes you just got to bow to the absurd, just like Picard said. Man, that's what you got to do, because someone riding a propane tank going like this, man, it's just something else. Oh man, I think I have too much fun sometimes in my life. Oh, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. Huh. I couldn't believe that, bro. Oh, tubes have a natural harmonic frequency. Okay, exactly like nature. They can duplicate his work. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Well, we got some more coordinates here. You know what? I don't know how to pull that up. I was kind of hoping, Crypto would jump in. I think he tried, but I like him to pull those up, man. I love those shows, by the way, when he does them and he starts looking at different things and seeing faces in the rocks and stuff. Dude, I'm all about that. Okay. I love anything like that. Anytime that you can understand something out of something else, it's so cool. So, one of the things I always say, look at that like it was underwater. All these places don't make sense unless it's underwater. You start looking at the pebbles on top of each other, it probably was a vent underwater. We see them all the time. You see the holes in the side of the mountains. That's where fish go. Fish go to breed in there, things like that. Kind of like when you go out catching those big catfish and you got to reach in that hole and grab them. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. I have. There's a scary experience. Put your hand in there. You don't know what's going to grab you back, but you grab that fish right out of that hole, man. Done that. So anyway, it just kind of gives you a different perspective on things. When you look at it, underwater, it makes sense. All the ridge tops make sense of civilization. It also makes sense in the world. We're going to the age of Aquarius, therefore more water's at the core, okay? And it's going to come out. We're going to end up with the shoreline getting less and less at some point, maybe not in our lifetime. World works on a different scale than we do. So eventually it's going to get that way. It's probably why we all want to build something to get off the planet. We don't want to be part of that. Could be why they built pyramids, so they can push that stuff back in. Who knows? We'll figure it all out in time. But I love those videos, man. I love watching them. And where scientists say, that's not a wall, that's natural. Yet it's completely a wall. You know what I mean? And you're like, what? Dude, not even close. So, yeah, love those things, man. Totally cool. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to put that up there. Yeah. Dude, you've seen a lot of them. If you look at mountains, I guess. Oh. Yeah. Sorry. I'm reading some of the comments. I don't know that I should say them on the air. Okay. Let's just say it that way. But I enjoy them. Okay. Huh. Oh. Yeah. I don't know. You just leave my name out of it when we're all done. I don't need any of that. You just leave me out of it. The old man on the YouTube once in a while said something. You know what I mean? Those who know will know, and those who don't. And whatever guy takes your idea, you'll get all the credit. And whatever. I'm okay with it, man. As long as my kids and my grandkids have something better than I do, I'm there. Get out of this whole stupid thing that we do around this world and fight with each other. Get rid of all that. and it makes my kids' lives better, yeah, I'm there. You know what I mean? You take all the credit you want. Just make that happen. Human nature does not like a good idea. Well, if they can make money on it, if they made the money on it, they'd probably like it. That's how this world's working lately. If they can make a ton of money on it, they like your good ideas. If it costs something that costs them money, they don't like it. So that's what I've been seeing anyway. If they can make a few extra dollars, yeah, they like your idea. As soon as they can't, well, they don't. Anything contradicts the order. I mean, look, let's be honest with you. If they sold water for your car, you'd still go to the gas station and buy it, wouldn't you? When we're not all going to the ocean, you're going to get a couple people to go to the ocean and fill their own car, but the rest of us just want convenience. Okay? My wife ain't stopping by the ocean to fill up her car. She just go over to the water station, I guess is what they call it then. We ain't getting out of this. That's not the way it works. We're not all of a sudden going to live in some utopia, but if it's cleaner and it's nicer and we live longer, I can live with that. I can live with that. So, yeah, it makes you kind of wonder, if society lived with the earth instead of against it, would there be any trace of it? Probably wouldn't be. You know what I mean? If they live with the earth, where's the traces? There's traces of it everywhere because we live against it right now. We live against this planet and we're ruining it. And there's traces of us all over the place. But if you live with it, would there really be much of a trace? Probably not. You know what I mean? You probably wouldn't need it. You know what I mean? Do you need all these devices to lift a rock if you know how to lift it with frequency? Nope. You don't need nothing. You'll be the monks. All you're going to do is go out and blow your horns and, you know what I mean? Do your thing, and that rock's going to lift right up to that cliff face, and you're good. You really don't need the rest. I mean, that's probably the most glaring example of we overdo everything of something simple. Yeah, the pyramids, they left it for us. They absolutely left it for us. Yeah, harmony with nature, man. Yeah. You guys ever see that Star Trek show movie Insurrection? I think it was what the one was where they went to this planet in the middle of this clouded area, and it's like in perfect harmony with nature. God, that's me right there. Let me go out. You know what I mean? I'll plow the field or whatever I have to do. Want to be harmony with nature? That's me right there, man. I go there every day, live a long life. You know what I mean? No morons there. You got to kick them off the planet, give them a ship, and get them out. You know what I mean? Tell them to go somewhere else and just live in harmony. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. It's been almost 3 hours. I'm going to end this stream. Guys, I want to say thank you to everybody who watched it and everything. Unless crypto comes on soon, you know what I mean? We'll give it like 10 minutes because I want to know what those coordinates are. You know what I mean? If he comes on and wants to pull them up. But I'll go ahead and check something out real quick. We'll give him a little time, see if he comes on. So let's look at something else. Give me 1 second. I'm going to play this just for a minute, and then I'll find something else for us, and we'll see if crypto comes on. But also, guys, if you're out there, Gerald and Ben, if you wanted to come on and say something, you're more than welcome to. So let's.
Here's the frequency. See that?
Volume's up.
As we lower the frequency, we get a raise in amps. There we go. Higher the frequency, lower amps, right? More volts. Yep, and a different style of discharge. You can see it's not super happy with that. It's kind of, right? down a little. All right. And look at that. We're back up to almost 8 amps. All right. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Before I play the original video, I want to give you a close-up look at the circuit that he is putting in his. This is for his high voltage. He has a video on his channel that explains exactly what this circuit is. So if you want to see that, check it out on his channel. Make sure you subscribe to him. Anyway, here we go, guys. Here's the original video about the high voltage. We're going to talk about some high voltage. Now, this is going to be a little confusing in the beginning, but we're going to get through it. Just understand this. What you think you know about high voltage is going to change today. So, is high voltage just amps and volts? The answer is no. Is it amps, volts, and frequency? No. There are several different factors that go into this. Some are the action that you put in. Some are the reaction you get when you put something in. Let me explain. Standard circuit. We take a 24-volt power pack. We run that into a ZVS driver. We run that onto a flyback transformer, DC flyback transformer. Then we can set up the two wires, the ground wire and the positive wire, and we can get voltage across it. Now, if I put in there 12 volts, and I put in there 3 amps, I'm going to get a predictable response. What you're not knowing is that you actually just put a frequency in based on your voltage in amps. Now, can you change that frequency? Most commonly, people will tell you no, but the actual answer is yes. All you have to do is add 2 more parts. So on your voltage end, when you get your 24-volt power pack here and you get your ZVS, all you have to put is a divider circuit in there. All it does is let the volts go through, but it's going to add a low end to it, which is going to be 5 volts. In that 5 volts, you add frequency and duty cycle. Now, here's the thing. When you add the frequency into it, is it going to change the MOSFETs in what they're doing? And they're switching on and off, on and off. No, it's not. It's actually going to leave that alone. It's going to run frequency over top everything else. And what is that frequency going to do? It's going to change the voltage and amperage and how they work. So as I bring the frequency up, it's going to bring the amount of amps down. You say, but I have a set amount going in. It won't matter. It's actually going to bring them down. When you see the actual voltage cross, there's going to be a part in there that's white. That's how many amps you have in your circuit. As you raise your frequency up, the amount of white goes away, the amount of purple comes out better, and it thins out real heavily. So, what's going on there? By changing the frequency, you've now changed the amps. I've also changed the amount of heat that's coming through that circuit. It no longer, because the amps are less, has as much heat. As you can see, it changed it. Now, what did it also change? I changed the ability of that spark itself to be able to be airborne. Now it can be able to put a charge in the air, where with more amps, it won't allow it to do that. It'll keep that charge close to the surface. So, what does that mean? When I get it to go further out, I put a charge on it. When I get it to go in closer, I change the magnetism on it. Now, that's a good understanding of how things are going, but just understand this. For one change, I had an effect on 3 to 4 different things in this. So, is it just voltage and amps? The answer is no. So let's do this again. We now want to add a duty cycle. Again, we're not changing the ZVS. The MOSFETs are still going to go on and off just where they are. But what does the duty cycle do? It goes over top that and adds a beat frequency. Now the beat frequency itself is going to control exactly how fast this comes out between the spark gap. It'll change it between going really fast when you turn up the duty cycle and then going out and extinguishing the actual spark gap when you go down lower. Again, it's changing it. But every time you change the beat frequency in this, it's also changing the amount of amps that go in. You're changing the amount of volts that go in. You're changing the frequency in it. You're also changing how much magnetism is in it. That also changes the amount of charge something has. Now, when you change the frequency of this, you're also going to be able to change the sound. Guys, it's no longer just volts and amps. You have to account for everything when you start building high voltage this way. The master circuit is very simple. This is what I use in order to manipulate everything the way I want it, to change everything to something totally different that's coming out. If I just want a circuit that does charge, if I just want a circuit that gives me more magnetism, if I just want a circuit that has more sparky voltage, okay, then I can do all of those things. Here's a circuit. We're going to start off on the low end. We're going to have a 555 timer that controls duty cycle. It's also going to control frequency. Do you have to put in a set frequency, or can you just hook your iPhone up to it and connect it and get it to play music? Yeah, you can. But the simplest thing is stick with a small little circuit. They're about $8 on Amazon. You get 3 or 4 of them. They work great. I'll leave the link in the description. Now, the next thing you're going to have is a high-low. So you're going to want to have something in there that allows your voltage to go up and down at the rate you want it to, but it has the low end so that you get the frequency in it. That right there is very simple. They're about $5 on Amazon. You can get one that has higher voltage in it so you can go higher if you want. Not a problem. The next part is just a standard ZVS. Use the one that you like best. That's the way I say it. The lower the wattage on it, the actual better the frequency comes through. Now, one thing I didn't mention is you're going to need some resistance in this circuit. So between your low end and your high end, you're going to want to run on the positive side a resistor in there. 20K ohms is what I usually do. You can go less, you can go without it. It all depends on how it works in the circuit and what you're trying to create. So that's kind of an option in there. So I don't generally put it in the main circuit. It's an addition to the circuit. Now, once you get to the ZVS, all you do is wrap your wire around that coil right there on the flyback. Now, why do I always just call it a pulse, magnetic pulse? Because that's basically what you're doing. And I don't care what driver you want to use to one of these things. As long as you have some kind of a magnetic pulse that goes in, you can use your Wilmhurst, you can use your Van de Graaff. If you can get it to magnetically pulse, you can run that ZVS. So you get it in there, you run the ZVS, you find which one's your negative, which is the one that sparks over most. You put them into a spark gap. Guys. All right, guys, it just said put it in your ZVS. I'm sorry about that, into your flyback. So basically you can run anything with a pulse magnetic frequency to it, to your flyback, and it'll work. It's as simple as it gets. It doesn't matter what driver you use, as long as it's pulse magnetics, you're good. You can connect your Wilmhurst if you want.
We had somebody chat in that said the ZVS wasn't necessary. Explain why it actually is.
It isn't necessary if you use them offset.
Oh, so if you substitute it with the MOSFET, it isn't necessary. But the ZVS you're using because it's what, more efficient or more effective?
It was just cheap. I'm actually switching back to a MOSFET.
Okay. So the MOSFET's probably you saying the MOSFET might be the better option?
MOSFET or a transistor, they're interchangeable. You know what I mean? If you understand how to open the gate,
right?
They're pretty much the same thing. Okay. The only thing that you really need to do, it'll bring out the frequency a lot easier with one single transistor.
Okay, that clarifies it.
Yeah, it makes a cleaner signal. So all the rest of it's unnecessary. It's just you have to worry about the diodes in it so that you don't blow something up. Okay.
Right.
Because ultimately you're creating heat. No matter what you do, as soon as you go to create that magnetic field, you're creating heat in that coil that goes on the flyback.
Right.
Okay? So now you got to change your winding. So usually I use 7. I might go down to 2. Okay. If I'm just using a transistor, because you don't want to blow it up. You know what I mean? You don't want that
Right.
heat to come back on you. Where
Yeah, we were talking about that last night. Like, we need a transistor that's able to capable of taking the heat.
now you could get one that has here's the trick to those things. Okay, you could get one that has a lot of amps, right? Say it has 20 amps, but they're taking away the volts when you get there. Ultimately, no matter what they say on the package, they all fail over a certain heat level. And it won't matter what you're putting in. The heat level is the most important thing on that. The faster it cools down, the more you can run anything you want.
So what you're saying is the only way to tell the limit of is to fry it and find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. If you can't keep that heat at about 120, okay, or less, you're frying it. As soon as you go over that, it's done.
We're talking about Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah, I think maybe Celsius. I'm not sure.
Or Celsius. Okay. Celsius is what,
No,
roughly?
Fahrenheit. We're talking Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit.
120 on Fahrenheit. You go up to 130, you're pushing it, but generally everything's blown at that point. And because it comes back on you and it triggers, sometimes it'll trigger in amps, sometimes it'll trigger in volts, it'll fry it right away.
And then it won't open that gate on time or with the timing that you need it, right?
Oh, it won't do anything. It'll be dead.
Won't do
It immediately fries it. Look, you're dealing with, like, for lack of a better term, and I know there's a better way to describe it, basically a piece of paper with drops on it, and those drops are contacting each other, and that's it. And then it's just encased in a shell.
I heard that sometimes transistors can fail, like half fail, like they'll fail but not completely fry out. Does that happen sometimes where they just malfunction but they're still appearing to take in electricity or something?
Think of it this way: if I took a bunch of wire strands, right, and all the wire strands are like this, if I remove part of them, they're still connected technically, okay, but the rest of there's no ability to gain more out of it. It's limited by what I can put it through.
Right.
That's what it means. That's when they're half working.
Okay, I got you. The throughput is like half what it should be or whatever.
Yeah, it's just not going to give you the full amount that you want.
Right. It's like pushing a golf ball through a garden hose.
That's right.
Okay. I'm starting to get it.
Yeah, you're trying to empty the dam with a king's hose. It's just not.
No, every time I go back to electricity and I get confused, I try to go back to the water analogy and just picturing it in my head, in like a vessel, like AC sloshing back and forth.
I stay away from AC, man. It burns things up too quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really, you just explode everything. I explode enough with DC.
So AC really is just good for like long-term or long distance transmission, right? Yeah.
I don't even think that's AC. I think that's more of a potential than AC in long distance transmission. And to be honest with you, AC would be very ineffective at long distance, because you got to think about it. The way Morin explains it, you have an amp, and either the voltage is chasing the amp or the amp is chasing the voltage. Either way, it's got to have push through the line, and then the rest of it stays around it. Okay.
Right. Most of the energy is circulating the conductor.
Yeah. So if you put AC in there, you're inside the wire, which means at some point it's going to be too hot, which AC is a really hot voltage. That's why your breakers break all the time when you turn on your air conditioner. Okay. Or it does to me in my garage. Anyway,
that's why you're saying focus on the voltage or the potential of circulating the current, because it has no resistance or heat that's accumulating.
It's very little heat.
Very little.
Because you're in milliamps. So
right.
That's why they put those swinging things on your high voltage lines. And they don't want it to swing because they don't want the energy to come off of the wire.
Oh,
that's what it is. Because they know where it's at. They know they're putting more potential in than
they're focused on the energy going through the conductor, whereas you're focused on the potential going around the conductor.
Yeah, but they do the same thing. They triple spark gap it and send it out to you as potential. So when they say AC, is it really? because AC wouldn't do well on high voltage lines.
So you think
But-
it's like they're just misunderstanding it, or
Yeah,
there's
potential
a
will still
disconnect in
kill you.
academia? Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
potential will kill you the same way as AC. So you're better off understanding it as AC to know it kill you. Okay, but the true understanding is it can't work that well in AC. There's too much heat in the line,
Yeah, too much resistance from the conductor.
and a bird wouldn't live if you put them on an AC line. By the way,
Right.
if I put it on an AC line, kept it bare, and turned it on, any bird that landed on it would be dead. And how many millions of volts are they putting through that AC line that they say that's up there? So it cannot be standard AC. It has to be very low amp AC.
And they're
which is
just
more-
calling it AC.
Yeah, it has to be more of a
Yeah.
potential. That way it goes over the bird.
And that's where the miscommunication and the confusion in my part comes in, because I'm, sometimes researching this stuff and I see, power lines are classified as AC, and then that sticks in my head. And then, we're researching all this, unique esoteric science that kind of contradicts some of it.
Well, they know all about it. Dude, no. What you got to understand is Tesla invented it. Steinmetz removed all of the stuff that was potential to put it in a pure form of AC.
Well,
And
I'm
that-
saying, like you said the other day with the guy interviewing Bedini, most people just don't understand it like that, though.
No, if I was in that room with Bedini, man, we'd have just a totally awesome
Dude,
chat.
I wish that would have happened. We had like an awesome opportunity like that, but we'll have some great people on. Sure. We have Sean on today, which I'm really excited for. So
Oh, dude, yeah, that's gonna be
that's
awesome.
going to be really cool.
Dude, you get to see what I see. You know what I mean?
And I'm going to go through the practical guide of free energy devices handbook and see if there's anything relevant to the topic today. We're discussing Tesla coils, right?
Yeah. You're better off just listening to Sean. He does a very good job of explaining it. Okay. He'll get it out. You'll be just fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, as much as I try to prepare questions, honestly, sometimes my questions come better off the cuff.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. You know what? We'll just let Sean get it out because
Yeah, just let him present whatever he's got to present. And
nobody knows it better. I'll just tell it to you that way. I am a novice compared to him when it comes to a Tesla coil. Okay. Let's just put it that way. He's got some wild stuff that goes on. Okay. Like if you looked at this stuff in his 3D prints, man, and you start to like zoom in on it, wow. Okay. Just wow. And the way he's building the voltage, man, totally insane because it's not just one winding around the coil. You know what I mean? Where it's like sliced off, dude, there's layers of it.
yeah, and he's weaving it in and out, isn't he?
I don't know that he's weaving it. Okay. I don't think he's doing what Gerald's
I
doing.
thought one of his coil, he was weaving it, but I might have been mistaken on that. But yeah, no, his winding patterns are very unique. I know that.
Yeah, it's built up like a flyback. So it's multiple windings in one area, then he goes to the next level, and then multiple windings the next, and then you know what I mean, as you go up. So it's built just like an AC flyback. Okay. But then he starts making, balls out of it. And you're like, what? How did you figure out how to do a ball? Like, where did that come from? I mean,
Yeah, the Death Star
seriously.
Tesla. Yeah, that was crazy. And
Yeah.
the arcs that it produced, like, wow.
Oh
What?
my God. Dude, I'm scratching my head here. And usually I respond right away and I don't know what to make of it. You know what I mean? Like, how does
Well,
this work?
I'm still hung up on the handheld Tesla coil. In the demo, he just put it up to that little, what was that, circuit board or whatever?
Yeah.
And you can clearly see the return of energy and the loop that it produces and the path that it wants to take. It's so cool. Like, there's no clear like visual that you would need, I think, like studying some of this as like as an amateur. Like for me, that painted a great picture in my head, and I was mind blown with that. They should do that in every class. Show you.
Check this out, man. It's low voltage. So, well, in a Tesla coil term, you put it near your coil and see what happens. See, it's a great tool when you have a coil like yours, because now you could test each line with it. You could go and put it in different areas of your circuit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What kind of field can you produce around it? It gives
Yeah, you
so
can
many
direct
different
it.
things. Yeah.
Oh my God. No, you're right. Because the Tesla coils that the one that I have is stationary. You can't really do anything with it. You have to leave it where it is, and it's not really meant for that, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like a tester Tesla coil that you can move around and
Yeah, I
just
burned
have
myself
fun.
trying to mess with it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Knowing you, you'd have some gloves on to stop that. I know Sean wears gloves all the time. I haven't figured that part out yet.
What
I-
kind of material gloves do you use
Uh,
for that?
You'll have to ask Sean. He'll probably show them to you later in the live, or have it. You know what I mean? Give you a description.
Mhm.
But they look like they stick to your hand pretty good. They're not those big bulky ones.
Oh, not the big oven mitts, the like tight latex maybe type ones.
Yeah, kind of like that, but they look like they have a little bit of thickness to them.
Oh,
So-
I think I know. I think I grabbed a pair of those. They're kind of like a thick insulated. No, yeah, I think I might have a pair of those.
Yeah, Sean said he'd send me a link. I'll pull that up. If you send it to my Facebook, and I'll pull it up before the show, and we'll take a look. Yeah, I probably should buy some of those. I just don't like things being on my fingers. They're fat enough. You know what I mean? I
It
gotta
is.
get down
It's
to
hard
little
to.
intricate things.
No, when I was building my rodent coil, I had to use the gloves, but it was, it was tempting to take them off because it's hard. It's hard to work with, the small wires and stuff and get them to where you want to go. And also the gloves, they're kind of sticky to the wire, So it's not like you're using your regular skin and you can kind of get a good grip on it. It's a different kind of grip. It
You don't
sticks a
want
little
to
bit too
stick to
much.
these wires. That's
But yeah, no, building the rodent coil was it wasn't hard, but it was difficult and challenging with the gloves for sure.
yeah, dude, totally gonna be cool tonight. So I'm excited, man. I'm so excited. I'm more excited for Sean because we've been talking back and forth, man, and he said, all right, he wanted to do it after a couple people went on. He saw what it was like, and I just hope he opens the channel. You know what I mean? We can get him a lot of subscribers quick because
For sure.
he puts out a lot of small videos right now. He's got a lot, right?
Mhm.
And perfect for all those YouTube shorts. Okay, very short.
Yeah, no,
easy.
it's a missed opportunity, and you're Sean, by not putting out this stuff, you're depriving us of so much gold, Yeah. So until then, we're gonna hold you accountable for that.
No, he's good, man. He's doing it.
I'm kidding.
I know.
I'm just saying, I recommend that anybody who has anything interesting or important to talk about, even just start a YouTube channel. It's fun. It's interesting. It gives you something to do, and if you have something important, there's no better way to get it out there.
Yeah. Well, especially because, you come here, you get the floor. You know what I mean? You get to talk about whatever you got, and then we all get to pick you apart a little bit and find out what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of
your
cool.
brain.
Yeah. So it's not one of those environments where we're trying to grill you. We're just trying to find out.
Right. We've had some amazing people on and have some amazing presentations that I've seen. I wouldn't be able to see anywhere else, honestly.
Well, they don't have them out there.
Yeah.
They usually
Well, that's why we're providing a platform for them. And I love that about this podcast that we started on Monday. It provides a platform for all these, inventors. And, sometimes we got to give them a little push. But that's with, a lot of us. I had to get a little push to do this. So.
Yeah, well, some of the people, man, they get beat down on YouTube, and it's really kind of tough because you have this great invention, and then everybody thinks they know better than you, but they're not in the room with you.
Right, and everything's so contentious. I just want a space where we all can actually get together and think about something, and not fight.
Oh, there's a little bit of fighting going on, but we all love each other.
We don't always
and
agree. Yeah, we don't always agree, but yeah.
Well,
It is
figure
what
it
it is.
out. Just
Yeah,
take
we'll
some
figure it
time.
out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you know, like we all have our own unique theories and perspectives, but when we come together and bring them together is when something really magical happens, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I love about the Monday show. You know what I mean? We can show our own videos and talk about them a little bit on a live chat, but really it's all about the inventor that day. That's
No, it's
really what
super
it is.
exciting to see all the new inventors and inventions that, like, you know, like I said, you don't get to see anywhere else, you know, because we're searching for the people that don't get the opportunity to, you know, get a platform like this.
That's right. Yeah, I'll say it again, guys, in case you guys weren't here earlier. If you wanted to come on, if you wanted to be part of it, just let us know. I got my email attached to my channel. Just email me. You know what I mean? We'll see what you got going on. It looks interesting. We'll all get into it. That's just it. You know what I mean? It's not hard. Just let us know. Some people got some stuff hiding. That's the ones I love. Like Ian was hiding his stuff. Okay.
Don't be hiding it now.
Yeah,
don't be shy.
Yeah, he sent me emails and told me what's going on. And I'm like, dude, everybody's got to see this. Okay.
Yeah.
And Sean did it to me too. He goes, oh, you want to build Tesla coil? Okay. I'm thinking, does he really have a Tesla coil over there? Right. And then as soon as he showed it to me, I'm like, I feel like the stupidest guy in the room. I'm putting on my little hat with a propeller on it. I'm going back.
Yeah, we understand if there's certain parts that you can't disclose, you know, like if you're under NDA, like Mike K from Faraday Research, but anything you are excited about or enthusiastic about, we're enthusiastic about, you know, we're all down to learn. So.
Yeah. Nobody gets embarrassed here, man. You got to get in with the flow though. You know what I mean? If you're able to laugh at yourself a little bit, we're good. You know what I mean? Because Gerald gets on here and has no filter sometimes. And it says Bog Irish. And he's doing Irish voices. No filter. But that's what you gotta love because we all have a fun time with that one.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna go down.
Yeah. We're all gonna find a way to make a good time, but we want to know the information as well. I think that's what the best part is. Anyway,
yeah, it's like
go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying it's like uncovering treasure, really.
No, it is. It definitely is. Hey Ben, you got anything going on?
Not currently. Right now, I'm gonna do some research for our podcast tonight. I'm gonna go through. Well, actually, you just told me that I don't need to prepare anything, so no, I don't have anything going on.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
if I don't have to prepare anything, I offered Mike an olive branch to see if he wanted me to help him with his YouTube channel, but other than that, no.
Right on. Yeah, give Mike a helping hand. Yeah. Hey guys, real quick before we do anything else, I just want to show Gerald stuff again. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, man. And
yeah, let's get him promoted. I'll drop a comment.
I want to show you the video I did today for Gerald's coil. So let me pull that up. There it is. At one of Gerald's coils. Now this is one of his smaller coils, but it's very important for a reason. It's doing something that not every coil does. It's going to jump to one level, and then it's going to jump to the next level without losing the amount it gained at the first level. Before I go any further, this is Gerald's channel. The link will be in the description.
Hey everybody, I'm going to try and make this quick. What we have here is two modified Joule thieves, both being using this 12-volt battery, which, as you can see, is fairly dead. We have a function generator pulsing at 1,000 hertz, 10% duty cycle, square wave. Both channels are going to pulse at the exact same pulse rate. And the first channel is going into the primary, and the second channel is going into the secondary. And what we're going to attempt is to see if we can raise this coil not once, but twice. Now, when you send a signal against or at each other, usually it cancels out. So let's see. The primary is turning on in 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to turn the secondary on in 3, 2, 1. As you can see,
so cool.
The signal didn't.
Oh,
catch.
he's going to invent a way to play horseshoes with this thing.
That was just amazing. I don't ever usually see this when we're talking about a coil. So what's making this special? A couple key things to pick up on here. He said there's 2 windings on this. Normally when we look at a coil like this, we just think it's one winding all the way around in one direction, and then you just take some zip ties and put it around there and hold it, right? But he said there's 2, so we're going to have to investigate that. The second thing that makes this thing so special is that it can jump in one field, hold it, and then jump again without breaking the first field. That's special. This right here is this actual small coil is using. As you can see, I drew on it. What I'm drawing there is the lines for each coil. Notice they're not circular and they're not one on top of the other. They're woven. So that's going to make a difference. I'm going to go ahead and show a video where he shows some coils. I don't see this exact coil in there, but he has one that's like it. It's the second one that he shows.
Hey everybody. Sorry I haven't been around to do any videos lately. I've been pretty busy. Wanted to show you on some of the things I've been working on. I've got 4 coils here that I'd like to not demonstrate, but show you what they are. This one here was named by a friend. You know who you are. This is called the bird's nest, because that's what it reminded him of. Well, bird's nest with a big hole in it anyway. And this here, my son named, this is called the gate.
Sorry, I'm going to pause it right there. I want you to take a look at the way this coil is wound. Now, we know that it's woven. We discovered that a little earlier. However, how it's woven is important. One coil woven on top of one coil, on top of one coil, on top of one coil. What does that mean? Each layer he puts down is one coil. And then it looks like he takes a completely another layer and puts it on for the second coil. And he keeps building like that. It does not look necessarily like it's 2 coils just in a woven pattern. They have to be intertwined. That's going to make this coil a lot different than most, and it's going to react differently. That's why we saw earlier when it jumps once, then it jumps again.
You can see why he called it that. This one I called the UFO. And as you can see, it's a nice, neat little pattern. And there's the side view. That's why I called it the UFO. All right. And this here, this one I'm not sure what to call. It's got a nice pattern to it. It's thick. It's got some weight to it. And it lights a 150 watt LED grow light, an LED beam. I'd have to say to 100% brightness or better. I'll do a demonstration shortly on it. I just wanted to kind of show you where I'm at, what I'm doing. I'm building something a little bigger. And this was just sort of what I've been working on lately. I'll be doing a demonstration of the coil on the right over here shortly. But what you see here is part of a bigger project. Stay tuned, everybody. Have a great day.
Now that we've seen what the coil is, let's go ahead and take a look at why we would want this. This right here is a coil wire over a neodymium magnet with a spacer in between. Guys, what I'm trying to show you here is this is a single jump. We saw Gerald's coil do a double jump. What is the greatest thing that you want in anti-gravity? It's the double jump. Now, why do we want a double jump? That's kind of important when we look at it here. If you can create the double jump or get it where it has a pillow under it, and I say pillow when I say that I mean magnetic field. If you can get that little bit of magnetic field under it and then get it to jump from that, then you've got something. Why? Because then you have that base, that magnetic field base underneath it, and you can jump it. The greatest thing in here is to jump it twice. You want it in the air and you want it jumped, and then you want the coil to jump it again. A jump on top of a moving magnetic field. That's anti-gravity. That right there is going to get you up in the sky and levitating. All you have to do is continuously hit it again, and again. It's
Real
a
quick.
pulse rate. You just have to know when to put it in. We all seen this in amazement when we look at this particular event right here or this video, but it's missing that double jump. He never gets it to achieve it. We have a smaller coil that's achieving it.
I
Let's
got a
look
question
more
for you,
into
Nathan.
it. What?
So
All right,
that
real quick
that
demonstration.
double jump.
Stick from my squeegee.
So that
You'll
second
see
jump
why
is
in a
that
moment.
signifying that it's actually pushing off of
Nothing on the
gravity itself?
secondary, just strictly pulsing the
Hey,
primary.
give me a second. So, what the double jump is, understand this. You're putting a field around your craft,
Mhm.
but a Tesla coil field inherently is like a magnetic field. Apparently, you're going to jump it once, or I shouldn't say apparently, but you're going to jump it once off the ground, right?
Right, where the
And-
initial magnetic field is produced, right?
Then you're going to have your own magnetic field to bounce it off of.
Oh,
It's like bouncing inside of your own little bounce house or whatever you
right.
want to
I
call
see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So you're creating your own little bounce there in that little cavity or whatever, and then that's what's creating the anti-gravitic. Okay,
Now that's just one form of gravity. Okay,
one
It's
form.
not-
Okay,
There's several. Gerald says there's 4. I've seen 3. Okay, we'll have to
Yeah,
figure
I've
out
heard
which one I'm missing.
right. We've had a gentleman on Free Energy Fridays talking about various forms of microgravity and stuff like that. So yeah, this probably goes beyond the scope of just one modality of mechanism. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's just one way to do it, and
Mm.
we'll all find out soon, won't we?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I'm excited about the Graviflyer, especially. Like I said, I was considering I'm highly considering making it the topic for season 2 of Divine Science. Season 1 mainly was about the thunderstorm generator. And I've said everything I wanted to on that topic, and now I'm ready to move on to something else.
Cool. I'm gonna hit play.
We're gonna see if we can make it go a little higher. Turning it on in 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's adjust this. It's got like a pivotal point there, right? Now watch this in 3, 2, 1.
So cool.
Interesting. You see that again? In 3, 2, 1. Have a great day.
And there it is. The goal of everybody who's looking into anti-gravity. You create the first jump, the second jump from there. The second jump is repulsed off of the magnetic field from the first jump. But by the way, Ben, if you don't understand that there's a field that replaces those neodymium magnets, then you're just going to sit here and argue the fact of the magnet. That's
So could we touch on that just a little bit and elaborate? So you said there's a Tesla field that's replacing the magnetic field.
So the Tesla field holds in all this energy, right? As you flip that field on the inside, it becomes magnetic. So you're surrounded by a magnetic field.
So as you flip it, it's polarized.
Yeah, it's already a magnetic field there. So the magnet's useless. Like the magnet, it's only good for the first jump. After that, it becomes useless because you already have things in place to replace it.
So it's like a kickstart.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But in what we're doing is we're just using the earth as the same thing. But this is just to get your mind to understand something differently. You know what I mean? If you still want the magnetic field, it's there. And you can still push off it. I always give the analogy. Take a balloon, put it on your desk, and push down on it. Let go and let it jump. That's what I mean. It's always going to be there with you. It's going to follow. So when you
it's
go
the elasticity of the interaction between the ether. You said you're actually creating the ether inside that bubble.
Yeah, that's it.
Essentially, counter space, and that's decreasing the space around it.
Yeah. So when you want to jump, just understand this. Whatever craft you have, that becomes the table. It becomes what you bounce off of. Okay? Because it's the bubble moving. You know what I'm saying? Your craft's going up as the bubble moves down, and then it readjusts and you go up. You know what I mean? It's like going up a flight of stairs in a circle. That's all it is. And that's just one form. The other form is just straight lock it and lift it. You know what I mean? And there's different ways of achieving that. So, and then you get into tunneling, and that's more of oh god, what was it? Victor Schauberger's stuff is tunneling. So that's
Is
more
that
like
quantum tunneling, or is that something different?
It's more like a wormhole.
Right.
You're creating space to pull you in, to put you further somewhere else in no time at all. You think that nothing's going on around you, but everything's going on around you. It's like being in warp speed. So
yeah, time is negated inside that little bubble you're in.
I think in the end, we're going to have all of them in one. To be honest with you, I think we're going to find individual parts and then bring them all together as one, because we're going to need to be able to travel through the wormhole to get somewhere.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, like this, the initial anti-gravitic propulsion that we're seeing with the Graviflyer might be good for, like, you know, flying around the Earth and stuff, but to actually get to between solar system and solar system, we're going to need something a little bit more efficient, like tunneling, like you said.
I'll tell you this, the Graviflyer is more of a field generator than it is lift. I think it gets lift, but I don't think
it's a field propulsion.
Yeah. It's more
so that's basically a UFO. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little bit different. Like I said, it's field. So it's making the field on the outside with the Tesla coil. It's making the field on the inside, right? So more of a field generator. So the one Gerald's working on is more of a propulsion system that moves. You know what I mean? That makes sense. Then Schauberger creates the wormhole, which you pull in, and then
it sucks you to it.
There you go. So
yeah,
that's what I mean. They're all going to be in there. Those are the three I know of. It might be a fourth, but you know what I mean? And I don't know. There's more to it, and I'll just wait on that. But it's with the field it's creating, it would be different inside the field than outside the field. So you're going to get a lot of time dilation, things like that, which is perfectly good because Einstein already said it's there.
Right. It's possible, you know, time isn't a constant. It's malleable. It can be changed depending on what medium it's going through.
Yeah. So whether it can be reversed or not, I don't know, but it can be slowed. It can be slowed down.
And since Tesla described light as nothing more than sound waves in the ether, or analogous to sound waves in the ether, you know, propagations in the ether. So the fact that, you know, we can change the speed of that propagation makes sense.
Yep. I have no problem doing it. Anyway, that was it. I just wanted to show some of Gerald's stuff. You guys could go on and watch the video and stuff. But I wanted to make sure that we talked about Gerald's stuff on here because I want to see that coil built. You know what I mean? Even if he just gives us a grand show, I just want to see it.
Dude, he put out that video and that teaser of all the coils on his desk. And I was like, oh my God, it's Christmas early.
Yeah. Seriously. He's been at this a while.
Yeah.
He got some secrets going on there. We're going to have to cover them.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's got like a button under his desk in his workshop that opens up like a secret chamber to some of his like really good stuff.
Well, dude, his whole collection on the water car. Oh my God, dude, why didn't you bring that to the surface earlier? Like, he's got plans for this thing. He's got all the diagrams. He's got things. He's already worked on the water with it. He's playing tricks on his wife with it, for God's sake. And here we're
gonna find the Gerald cave, and we're gonna raid some of your inventions.
Here we are knowing nothing about it except for a couple videos, and here's this guy doing all this stuff. It's like, come on, Gerald, you could have shared earlier.
You know, when I built the rodent coil, I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then I get on Free Energy Fridays to see his coil, and I'm like, holy crap! Like I almost dropped what I was holding. It was so impressive. Like he was just putting stuff on this, and it just wouldn't affect the input power. I'm just wow. Like I was like, this is really cool. He's got something here. I knew immediately he had something there.
Yeah. Dude, I think when he lights that thing up in a room, if we put it in a really small room, I think honestly, we're gonna have some weird stuff going on. Okay. We're gonna have to have video cameras outside the door, some plexiglass, you know what I mean?
What was that? What was that story he told? He said he did one of his experiments and something he was invisible or something, or his family couldn't see him.
He said his daughter couldn't find him. She opened the door, looked in there, he wasn't in there. Okay. But him and a couple buddies were in there, and it wasn't like they were hiding, they were standing next to the coil. So I want to verify that. I want to build a booth and be inside the booth, make it airtight so we can get all the, you know what I mean? All the high voltage in there, and let's find out. See if the old man could disappear. That'd be cool.
We're gonna end up in like 50 years from now. We're gonna end up we travel to the future.
Be like going into the Jumanji game. We start playing a game, we get in there. Oh, dude, I want to see it. If that's possible, man, I'm time traveling forever. I'm going everywhere I can. So I don't know. I guess I just don't want to sit here in my garage. I want to do some stuff.
Yeah, you exactly. You want to do some stuff and go some places, have some experiences. That's what life is about, right? Having experiences.
Well, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Things that are worth it.
Exactly.
I have no fascination of hanging off a cliff. I don't want to fall out of the sky, but if I control it, I'm all for it.
Yeah. I'm not somebody who wants to die with the most toys. I just want to die with the most experiences.
Yeah. There you go. All right, Ben, it's almost 4 hours, man. We got to get ready for the live show later today. I just wanted to get it on here and talk about my Graviflyer a little bit and some other stuff. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Anything you got, Ben?
No, I'm going to get ready for the live stream myself. The podcast is at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or if you're on the Pacific Coast, it's at 3.
All right, guys. Thank you all for showing up today. Totally awesome. Everybody that wasn't in sync for the show or something, we'll try to work on that and get everything right so we can start at the beginning. But it kind of worked out, I think, when everybody came in today because we had a problem in the beginning with somebody, which I got to talk to you about or figure out what you sent me and straighten that out. So
yeah, I'll talk to you in an email about that.
So cool. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll see you 3:00 my time. So that's what I got 4 hours, so 3.5. 3.5 hours.
Yeah, 3.5 hours.
Yeah. See you guys in just a little bit, man. Have fun for a while.
Bye. Thanks, Nathan.
Thanks, Ben.
I might actually stay on and watch